Welcome to XBI Podcast.
We're
The
live.
new Wii Sports is now on Switch. Yep. Hey, what's up?
Did they say anything about Breath of the Wild 2?
No.
Did they say anything about Breath?
No. Hey, everyone. Welcome to
Hello.
Nintendo Voice Chat. Welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat,
Nothing to see
unofficial
here.
chat.
Move along.
All right, they say, hello, everybody. Welcome to Xbox International. I am your host, the sexy Henry Cavill version, the crazy one, the crazy Louis here, guys. So, yeah, what's going on, man? Today has been wild. All this news coming up. Wow, it's going to be a really interesting day today. A bunch of subjects, and let's have lots of fun. So, first off, let's introduce my brother, Sourbril Gaming. Go ahead, brother.
Hello, how's
Introduce
it going,
yourself.
everyone? I'm gonna keep these guys on check. If not,
Yeah.
I'll take over again like last week.
Well, there's
But-
no Sea of Thieves news, so we're good.
Oh, I heard a Star Citizen news today.
Oh, you want me to talk about that?
I
Your Honor?
received some news today, which was
No,
something
ju-
though because it doesn't exist.
So let's continue the show because we have a very special guest. And
yes,
yes.
we want
Yeah,
to
we
talk
got-
about real games,
Yes,
not
yes.
fake games. Games that actually we play on real consoles, not fake consoles that you can't even show me.
So yeah. Okay, now to introduce our very special guest that I'm really excited to have her here on with us with Team XBI. I mean, yes, introduce yourself, the lovely, the beautiful Delilah HD. Go.
Thank you. Yes, happy to be here. I'm glad. I'm very flattered because this is y'all first. I'm the first guest on y'all show. I've been lurking on it for a while since y'all launched, so thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. I'm just glad to be here and ready to talk about some games.
Yes. And now my other brother, the guy who wears the million mask right there, Mr. Silent Cypher the Banished. Go introduce yourself, my dear brother.
What's going on, everyone? It's good to be with you this evening. I'm so excited that we're back in the show again. Wednesday came really quick this week. I'm
Yeah.
stoked to be back here with you. And I'm really, really happy to have our awesome guest, Delilah. It's awesome to change things up a little bit. As much fun as it is with you guys, I want to see a different opinion, a different perspective. I think this would be a good opportunity. So welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And now, my enemy, my arch nemesis, my Will Wheaton, Mr. Joanna Dark. Introduce yourself, my dear brother.
Hey, what's up, everyone? First, I'm excited because we have Delilah as our very first guest. I was a fan of hers the minute I saw her on Fonzarelli Gaming, so shout out to you.
Oh, start the fun.
And then myself also, I have been lurking on the GWG, their podcast, and I love the cast overall, the panel. Some conversations are like, okay, I definitely like what's going on here. I'm always in there for, the banter as we have it here, but I'm excited to talk about the trending news and everything that's going on today. And I want to thank also everyone that's watching with us today. And before we kind of start and kind of get into the trending topics and everything, I definitely want to do some housekeepings. And as always, I just want to say, hey, all questions are welcome. We're always happy to kind of, like I said before, we want to not only just talk to you, but we also want to interact back and forth. But please be respectful. We're not all going to agree on everything, as you're going to know that Silent Cypher does not like Code Veronica. But hey, that doesn't mean that I'm going to go over there and be toxic to him, But let's just keep it cool. Let's have a good time. And as always, let's just rock it out and have a good time talking about games.
Oh, wait, we can't be toxic on Sourblue, though?
That's different. That's offline. That's
No,
offline.
Okay. No, just in case.
I can keep you
But
in
yeah,
check.
but
Remember?
so before we kind of get into the news, if you've tuned in, of course, we just started. This is our 5th episode, and if you've never had a chance to either, go on GWG or see, Delilah and any other podcast, Delilah, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what,
Oh, wow.
number one, what got you into gaming? What game? We all have that, and then second, what inspired you to start podcasting, and third, what do you do actually at Microsoft?
Ooh, that's loaded. I'm joking. No. So let's see. How do I want to answer this? What got me into gaming is well, I'm dating myself here, but Super Mario Brothers. Yeah, and I was just fascinated with interaction on screen, and just noticing that the fact that when I hit a button, the player on the screen would move, and from that point, I was hooked. From there, a friend down the street had an Atari, so I would, go and try that out, and immediately, say that my system was better because I had a Nintendo. And so that whole
So you
community,
started you were part of the console wars then.
Yeah.
yeah, we've been a part of it forever. But I just think about it all the time because it's like actually we used to talk trash about the fact that I had a better system than Atari, but then years later, that same person got a Sega, and then I had to upgrade. So it was always just back and forth growing up. But yeah, that's what really kind of got me into it. It was just friends, and I would ask for it at Christmas, and yeah, I mean that's a short version.
Since you started with Mario, real quick, what is your favorite Mario?
My favorite Mario is Super Mario 3. Yeah.
Ooh,
Mario
yes,
3.
good choice.
Yeah.
Yes, Super
Yes.
Mario.
Yeah. Yeah, what was fascinating with 3 for me was the fact that, the little shortcuts of like holding down the down button to go in the
Yes.
background and play. I thought it was so innovative at the time. Amazing. Wow, I can talk for hours about like my
Oh,
history and why.
to kind of keep in gaming, right? I'm going to give you this. Let's
Yeah.
say that like the world ended, right? And repopulated, and you
Oh.
can only preserve 3 games. Your
Ooh.
3 favorite games of all time. And what would those 3 games be that they would they preserve,
can
put
just
in a
play
time
'em.
capsule?
Doesn't even for me it'd be Ori the Will of the Wisps, Ninja Gaiden Black, and
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden Black specifically because okay, we can talk about that, but let's see, one more. It'd be Super Metroid. That would be it's a tie between Super Metroid and Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time is great.
Yeah.
I don't know, Majora's Mask is also, I think it's on there as well.
That game to me, Majora's Mask was very, very good. Like, even though some people didn't appreciate it because it's different, but to me it was just the way it told the story. You had to kind of replay. It had that first like kind of time. Yeah, it was really good. But I'm trying to go back and answer all the.
It was the first Death Loop.
Yeah, that's kind of true. So like, I'm trying to go back and answer the question that you asked because they were very specific because you asked a little bit about my gaming history, and then so just to kind of keep it short, went from Sega, and then from there I went I went Nintendo 64. I never owned a PlayStation 1, never owned a PlayStation 2.
Oh,
and
really?
then I went straight to
Okay.
Xbox.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm Xbox through and through. Like, yeah, it's just I bleed green. I mean, that's the only way I can.
Nice.
Usually with origin stories from a lot of people that are Xbox, players, usually started with Sega, but I think like myself, I started with Sega, then I went to Nintendo, and then yes, I started with, and then Xbox kind of became my main platform.
Yeah. I eventually got a Sega later on when I was able to like go buy retro, because now I'm big on like going back and buying retro consoles and playing some of those older games that I get a chance to try out. But yeah, it's just, man, when the Xbox was originally announced, I just gravitated toward it, and I started like, I couldn't.
What was that game?
For me, it was Halo. It was
Okay.
it was Halo. They had an awesome lineup though. Between Project Gotham and then you had Dead or Alive. I mean, it was incredible. All of the Xbox exclusives they had back then. You used to look for the label that said only on Xbox on it. I always try to get all of those Sega based games. And as far as like history and stuff, from Xbox really inspired me to create. I'm trying to lead into how I do what I do today.
Sure.
Xbox inspired me to create a gaming website, and it was called at the time it was on the Xbox.com. It was a Xbox exclusive. It was a website all about just Xbox. It spun off from the Team Xbox forums, and then I started creating like websites, doing like concept art, modifying concept art and stuff like that. Kind of like what you see Cobril do on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that kind of just doing that over and over again taught me a lot, like as far as like graphic design, and also programming development. So that's how I kind of transition into, okay, if I'm gonna go to school, if I'm gonna do all that, what do I want to do for a living? And I kind of align the two. That's kind of lead to what I do today at Microsoft, and I'm a designer there, working on like some of the game stack stuff. So it's cool. I'll leave it at that. I don't know. I don't know what else to go there.
No, I mean, it's a great story, because we all take different paths, right? And I can share, now that I joined the team back in June, I thought that I needed to be some type of developer. I have no skills. I can't even make a game, right? And I was like, hey, well, how can I work in an industry where, most of the time either you're a developer or some type of support engineer? I mean, I know how to fix computers, yeah, sure, and I know I understand certain things, but I can definitely, if you tell me, hey, can you code this button for me? I'm like, I have no clue. Let me go on Fiverr and get somebody to do this for me.
So I mean, I'm deliberately trying to keep the short story because it's the story short because I don't want to take up all the time because
please.
The history
well,
I have.
You're our guest. You're our guest. So this is all you right now.
One thing I want to mention is that like the history that I share with as far as the community is extensive. It's very extensive. Like I've been to like E3 7 times. It's crazy. Like it just.
What was your favorite one?
My favorite one was 2005. Simply because of the fact that Bill Gates was there. That was the last time I think he was there. They showed off. It was in 2005 or 2006. They showed off Gears of War for the very first time, and I was in the back of the theater at the Chinese Theater in LA, and that was my first time ever going to LA. And it was eye-opening for me. It changed my perception on like how different the world is because I grew up in a small town, so it changed my perception on like what I want to do with my life and how large or how small the world is. And so it was definitely inspiring to me. And it because you can imagine being in that atmosphere was that many of me, at all. It's a lot more now than it is today, but it wasn't that many of me. And it was very noticeable. And I feel like I stood out like a sore thumb. But at the same time, it played to my advantage because everybody was always wondering, like, why was I there? And so that allowed me to build relationships with people. And I just, over time, just, kept in contact with some people. I got tons of stories that I could share about things like that. But yeah, and it's interesting because even though I joined Microsoft about 3 years ago now, it's like I want to do it on my own. I didn't want anyone to kind of sponsor me or say, oh yeah, I know her, or I wanted to keep it very genuine. I wanted to make sure that I had the proper skill set in order to succeed in the positions that I wanted. And so, like I said, I wanted to align the two. I was already creating websites outside of my day-to-day stuff, standard working, because I was like I was working like in a movie theater at one point, and I was just always still trying to learn certain things. And I went to school, and after that, I went to grad school, and then that's kind of how I knew that. I just knew from that point that exactly what I wanted to do, and I had a portfolio that was large enough to I knew that if I applied, I would get it. I wanted to make sure that I was ready though. So yeah, I don't know what else to add to that, but my favorite one was definitely 2005, 2006. Like I said, I got a chance to meet Cliff Bleszinski because they had the behind the scenes look at Gears of War for the very first time, and I just remember being blown away by the graphic fidelity, thinking it was the best thing that we'll see at the time. I
think when Gears was just like amazing when you first saw it, you were like, what is this? You're like,
yeah. I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who made Metal Gear.
Hideo Kojima.
I actually got like photos with Kojima, and because he was actually back there when I was playing Gears. I got early photos of like Major Nelson and the early PR team of when they were just when they had like FanFest, but it wasn't called FanFest. It was called like C3 Community something or another. And I just think about all of that, and it's just like it's an interesting dynamic now, being on this side of the fence and looking out instead of like on the outside looking in. It feels weird sometimes. but it's definitely it's eye opening too, because you get to kind of understand a little bit how the business works. And also what influences some of the decisions that happen.
Yeah, you
So
definitely learn a lot, and I know exactly what you're saying. It's just like, yeah, I
yeah.
think the E3 I went to was first E3 I think was 2010, and
Ooh, was that the one where they gave away the Xboxes into the audience? If you went to the press conference, like
I didn't
everybody
go
in
to
the
the
audience
press.
had. Oh,
I
okay.
didn't.
Well, see, that's one of the highlights of going to E3. If you was in that
See,
crowd,
I wasn't that cool kid. I did all I knew is that at the time I could get free tickets, and me, even though I like Xbox, being a Nintendo fanboy, getting in line to try everything. I even went to the year where I always tell the story when um, I was walking around with my badge, and Major Nelson says, "Hey, do you want to see Smart Glass?" And I said, "Sure." And
smart
he
glass
blew
on
my
the little
mind.
app. Yeah.
Yeah, and all I can do when I came back to the stores was talk about, yo, I gotta show you smart glass. And I pulled up on the, we had a nice front window with a demo, and I would pull up my Surface, well, not my Surface at the time, but my tablet, and I would say, hey, let me show you how to push this to the tablet, to the TV, back to the back. I was like literally demoing the same thing they showed me at E3, and I was just in love with it. And it was pretty cool to just overall. I was like, Major Nelson was like, yeah, you want to come in? I mean, you're an Xbox, right? I was like, yeah. Showed me some cool stuff, some cool concepts that, die with me till I, I go with them to the grave. But it's cool. It was cool overall. There's a video on YouTube where somebody recorded me on the stage for Dance Central.
Mhm.
And I look like a fool in front of these professional dancers just dancing on the stage, and like, yeah, yeah. So it was pretty cool overall.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I mean, you make a strong point. Like it's those stories like that kind of it inspires you a little bit, right? It makes you kind of want to be in the space. It adds a step to everything, like because people you get to speak to people that actually are working it and living in it, and so it encourages you a little bit to be like, okay, well, dang, I could do that too. Like, what's stopping me from trying to be in that space?
What
And
was
it
the
could be
one
challenging.
person What was the one person that you've met from the events, or anyone that in particular that kind of like you were just saying right now, kind of was like, yo, I can do this, and
Dude,
kind of like,
if I say this, you won't even believe me. But
oh,
it but
no,
it
go
was
ahead.
it was Phil. It was Phil Spencer. Just I don't want to go into it, but like Phil is a genuine dude. Like he's very genuine. He notices things that you wouldn't think that he notices. Um, he's very sarcastic. I thought that was just hilarious. Like his personality. Like he loves to crack jokes, but he's so sharp. Like, and he could tell that he generally cares about like where we go as an industry. Um, and it's just weird just having just random conversations, about topics with them is interesting. And also like I don't want to go into some of the stuff, but it just I don't know. Let's just say he introduced me to mussels. You know how you eat the clams and you get the mussels and you
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
disgusting, right?
no, they're good. Wow,
Oh, they're
man.
so
I,
good.
I'm
It's
not
like you
into
should
it as much,
Hungry.
but I
It's
know what
like
you're
it's
talking
like you
about.
should you
Yeah,
should try it. And
Oh,
it's like
oh,
that whole thing. It's just like I said, it's a genuine thing. And so to me, he's been very constant. I've spoken with other people in that work at Xbox. Spoken with other people that I've had conversations with in the past, and you always get different. I get mixed messages from them sometimes, depending on who it is. But Phil's been pretty constant, regardless of position. Because he's at the top of the podium, right? And it's like,
I think
you know,
and I had the privilege of meeting Phil twice in my life, but I think what it is that when I look at the things that I want as in a leader, if somebody asks me what are the attributes that I want in a leader, Phil Spencer checks off those boxes of what a leader is on all dimensions. Not just the fact that he's, the head of Microsoft Gaming, but overall as a person, and what a leader really truly does to kind of inspire people, and have a vision where you're like, yes, I come every day and I'm motivated to want more.
I
So
think what
yeah,
it is for me too, because you said what is it like the one person thing, and the reason why I pick Phil too is because of the way that they talk about it a lot in the documentary that they did too. Is like how he's been able to change the culture too, because Microsoft had this culture of like being a little bit hard nosed and cutthroat and whatnot. And so just being deliberate about changing that culture, it makes me feel comfortable to go to work, right? But if I had to pick someone else, because I feel weird picking Phil, but if I had to pick someone else, the one person, it has to be somebody work related. It has to be work related.
Oh, no, not at
Okay.
all. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, cool.
No, it does not.
I
It
thought
does
you
not.
meant like work
And
related. I'm like,
no, sorry. So no, it can be anyone. I
no,
mean, you know,
dude, who inspired me? Man, my team, the GWG team, they inspire me so much. Like they keep me going. Sometimes, man, it can get tough just especially with this pandemic and dealing with family and stuff like that. Our team is so tight knit, and we try to push each other to as far as like growth. And sometimes, just hearing from them throughout the day keeps me going. And so I really do. I appreciate them. So, I'm definitely glad that it wasn't work related, because I would be kind of like,
no, and I'm sorry.
I don't want to sound like a weird flex.
No, but
Yeah, but yeah. So shout out to Lady Infamous, L Boogie, Sharice, the GWG team. I love you, ladies. I appreciate you, ladies, and yeah, we're besties, and I miss them the whole nine.
yeah, we all like yeah, it doesn't have to be work. Like I said, we all have those people, whether
Yeah.
it's friends that kind of push us. I always say, one of the things that I had the pleasure was meeting Albert at the Fifth Avenue store, and one of the things that I liked about Albert is, like many people that I love surrounding myself around, he's very passionate, very hardworking, and again, he's a really good friend. So that's one of the things, as working with him in the store and now still being able to do a podcast with the Nickel Gaming Show. It's great to keep that friendship, because people like that push you and also inspire you to be better. So it's always good to have those people there when you need it, because we all suffer sometimes from some type of imposter syndrome, or we're just overall this pandemic.
Thanks,
So
yeah.
So it's
Yeah, I
always
feel like
always good.
even when it comes to work, like even though I feel like I've been doing this forever, and I'm comfortable in the space that I'm in. Sometimes I still get anxiety, because you want to do a great job. You want to yeah. I mean, that's the end of it. You really want to show and prove. You want to prove, even though you're confident in yourself, you want to prove to everybody else that, look, I'm supposed to be here. And sometimes that comes with a level of anxiety, and sometimes just being able to vent, it can relieve that stress. So yeah.
I guess my next thing is, what
Right, make
the
me
last
emotional
question.
here. Shoot.
Yeah, we need, like TNT says, right? We need drama. Yes, we bring some drama.
I guess this is Delilah and High Def. Y'all like, look, checking all the pixels, pencil counting over here.
Yeah.
I love listening to what inspired people to get into podcasting. One of the things I started doing was this. So as someone who's been doing it, and I know on Fonzarelli's episode, before you were with GW, you did another podcast with Fonz. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So Fonz and I, we were on a podcast called GRG, started by K Mega. And before then, I was like doing kind of like this, being guests on other shows. But yeah, I mean, what inspired me to do podcasting though is kind of I would say Gamer Tag Radio did. Because I used to my very first E3, that same E3 that I told you, 2005, or 6. It's either one or it's one of those. But anyway, I had met Godfrey, Danny, who runs Gamer Tag Radio, and it was so crazy because that was my very first time meeting him, and he allowed me to pretty much like ride his coattails into like all his backdoor dealings, so to speak, as far as like getting interviews and whatnot. And again, like that entire E3 was just eye opening. So definitely Gamer Tag Radio kind of inspired me to kind of want to do podcasts. And then after that, it would be, wow. Yeah, it definitely started there. And I don't know who else I would pick. But yeah, to get back to the Fonz thing, yeah, we were on GRG podcast led by K Mega 405. I think that's the handle that he goes by.
Yeah, K Mega 405.
K Mega 405, yeah. And thinking this show was a little bit wild, but I still, shout out to those guys. but yeah, so we used to be regular hosts on that show, and we would kind of do what you guys are doing here, talk about the latest news, and but on there it had like a little more of a fanboy vibe. So we would do like little rants about like things we want to see, and this was all in that whole mist of like the 2013 and you know, Xbox has no games, and we were just in the thick of all of that. And so we were there and just always every week get like backlash about like, oh, this I am this and this and that and yada yada yada. And it was just cool because because we would be combative and we would try to explain as to why, no, they're turning the ship and this is changing and this is coming and this is doing this. And then mind you, this is all before, I joined Microsoft and stuff. So it's like, man, I would talk a little bit more freely back then, say little things, a couple things that I probably shouldn't say it back then. But it was one of those. It was definitely great to kind of just say something. Sometimes it's that. It's just you want to be able to speak on what's happening in gaming. Because I feel like everyone has something to say, and I love even watching people react to things that get announced. I try to listen to as many people as I can. As someone who has to focus on human interaction in the work that I do, I like to catch opinions, as many opinions as I can. So, I've listened to so many podcasts, you all, like throughout the week. It's like my background music for anything. Anytime I'm working, I like throwing on a podcast and working, or throwing on some music and working. But so I try to catch and listen to everybody. I also get inspired by what Iron Lords is doing too. Iron Lords podcast. Shout out to them. I like the ebb and flow of their show and the personalities and how they mesh. I think it's really good. So to me, it makes me realize that like chemistry is extremely important when you have hosts. So that's why it's great when you are genuinely friends. And I feel like that's another thing about GWG that works really well, is that we genuinely, we're genuinely friends, and we do this outside of outside of our podcast. We communicate outside of our podcast, and so it's one of those things you can kind of pick up on when you watch a show. And so that's what I get from IOP, because you can really tell immediately that they got history, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Funny thing about the Iron Lords, right? For some odd reason, I kept hearing the Iron Lords podcast. And mind you, I checked every podcast under the sun. And then just one day I said, you know what? Let me check out these Iron Lord podcasts. And
Telling you.
right there, I was just like, and it was funny because a lot of the things that, whether Sav, Cognito, King, it's like, I grew up in that environment, living in Brooklyn, living in New York. I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. It just the way they also connect with people, and I like the fact that they give their opinion about things, but they also bring other people, even if they disagree with them, and bring them to have conversations. And I think that's another big thing that I those are the type of podcasts I enjoy also, because you give another perspective besides just having one side of a story.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because what's interesting about when the ladies and myself, so we're all from different parts of uh of life and in the world, almost like but the streets and I, we could have history because we went to college together. But I met Lady and Boogie at E3, and we just kind of hit it off almost immediately. And yeah, ladies in California. I think Boogie's from ladies from San Francisco. Boogie's from, I think she lived in Los Angeles, but now she's on the East Coast. And so it's like we have different perspectives too. I don't want to get too personal, but we have different perspectives, and so I think that adds to our show, because of the fact that we're able to we don't always agree with each other. And I think that makes for a great conversation. When you have got a show or podcast, everybody saying, "Yep, I agree," such and such and such and such. Yep, I agree. Such, and the same thing. They're just kind of echoing the same information that you're saying. It can get monotonous, and so yeah, to me, it adds the dynamic.
Yeah, no. I think that's how XBI came together. Sour Blow hit me up and said if I wanted to go on the gaming lobby. And I warned them that I'm terrible. My Spanish is terrible, so I still did the show. And then from there, I met Crazy Lou, and then Silent Cipher and I were members of the Xbox Chapter community with Miles, and we just kind of from there. So it's I know what you mean in the sense of, people from different parts just coming together, but having, things that have in common, but we also have other things that we kind of disagree and everything. I
Yeah.
guess my final question to this whole podcast is, how's it changed for you now that, just like, me, I'm doing this now as a Xbox and
Oh
Microsoft
man,
employee. How does that change?
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard sometimes. It's hard because things you want to say you can't say. That's the primary one. It's like can't speak on said I want to, and I always have to play like at middle of the road or like devil's advocate, or just so I can kind of keep the conversation moving and not make it bland by saying I can't talk about that. Um, but I've learned how to navigate it now. But when I first started out, it was a little bit it was a bit of a challenge because man, that social media clause is no joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. It's just like you get captured. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, did you say this?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not.
oh,
It's like
man.
first thing I say is, disclaimer. I'm not confirming anything. Okay.
Yes,
Let's be
our
clear.
blow. Yes,
Yes,
our blow.
Pablo.
Private-
Sour blows like, hey,
Hey.
Joanna, is that Superman game coming out? I was like, what? Even if it was, why would I tell you?
I just like messing with him. Whenever he talks about any movie, anything, he's like, "Oh, you watch this?" I'll be like, "Oh, you confirming this is coming?" And he gets pissed at me. He's like, "Stop!"
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
I will say
Yes.
this. I will say this, which is a topic we're going to talk with. It's been the topic, Activision
Wow.
Blizzard.
Yeah.
Okay,
All I
before
remember-
we jump to that, can I ask a question to our guest?
She doesn't
Sure.
like Sea of Thieves.
No, not Sea of Thieves. It's not Sea of Thieves. Okay.
Come on.
Dang. Oh.
Generally speaking, like, have you designed something that, or what have you designed that you feel like most proud of, if you can speak about it
Oh
during
my
your-
God. I do that.
your time?
What I work on, millions upon millions of people use. So but I'm not gonna speak on it. But yeah, I'm proud of it. I am. It's very seldom that you get to do that, right? That you get to release something that everyone's gonna see and touch. It's amazing. It's very satisfying. I'll just leave it at that because I'm not at liberty to say, but
Okay.
it's I love it. I love the work that I do. Yeah. I just leave it at that.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I hope didn't answer.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
No,
fine.
no worries, no worries.
That's
That's
fair.
fine.
That's
fair.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So what's the
Oh man.
topic, John?
What's the topic, Joanna?
Yeah, so we had some news today, and
Ooh.
I love it that we're on
Oof.
Wednesdays because what happens is we're like, oh yeah, we're probably gonna have to talk about what happened last week, this week again, and it's all of a sudden just the news just drops. So to kind of start, one of the things that dropped today, but then of course they keep on teasing us, was Munfish's Atomic Heart. I don't know if everyone saw the trailer or Delilah, have you seen Atomic Heart?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So-
I'm getting BioShock vibes.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I've been watching that game for years. I've seen like a couple gameplays on it and stuff. I was like, when is this coming out? It's been going on for years, and every time I see it, it just gets better and better. Really, it does.
Yeah, no, Silent Cypher, did you get to see the trailer to Atomic Heart today? Or have you seen it prior, even if you didn't see today's trailer?
I'm gonna disappoint you because I think the last time I saw the last time I saw one, I think was, what was that, like a year ago or something, is when we
Sure.
saw it last.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I saw the initial stuff that they kind of touched on with it, but I'm not gonna lie. Today was a super busy work day. I came flying in here and sat down, and it was podcast time.
Wait,
so
they had a new trailer today?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes,
didn't see
it
I didn't see a new
Yeah.
trailer. I know Atomic Heart
I'm
is.
glad I'm
So-
not the only
so-
one then.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so today they teased that they were going to reveal the date.
Yep.
And they showed a new
Ooh.
trailer, but this trailer really showcases more of the game and exactly what you're going to get. I know you've seen the game. You were saying BioShock vibes.
Yeah, give
It-
BioShock vibes.
it like the demo today that they showed was number one. It's probably going to put our PCs to like bend the knees because what I've seen from the game is I've seen water and particle effects that look like very demanding. I don't know if you saw some of the trailers. Like there's like this little water kind of organism that's been floating around in some of the demos. I'm not sure if anyone have caught that in some of the Atomic Heart.
Yes,
Um,
I did.
and just there, the RT reflections and everything that's going on, I'm just like,
Yeah, it's
you know,
crazy.
is that going to be the new Crisis? Can you run Atomic Heart? You know,
Could be.
and I guess you know, Sourblowed, did you get to see it?
Oh yes, I did. I saw it.
What do you think about it?
I was at work, and then when I was waiting for the date, I kind of saw something like blinking and stuff, and I thought at the end, I thought, oh, maybe they showed it and I missed it. So I kept rewinding, and I'm like, wait, they didn't show the date. So that kind of got me a little pissed. But the gameplay, like, yeah, I agree. It reminds me of Bioshock, and more of the Bioshock, the Infinite one. It kind of gives me that vibe. Yeah, it's amazing. It looks pretty good.
So at the end of the trailer, and I guess we can all guess, right? Let's do a guess here. I love guessing games. They put Ember as the
Yeah.
month. So
they just
let's
put
start.
Burr. They just
So
put
let's
Burr.
start. Delilah, what do you think? Out of all the months that have Ember at the end, when do you think Atomic
September.
Heart's coming out? Okay,
September.
crazy.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you something. Since it's like weird and stuff, I think it's gonna be in October.
Okay,
Got that weird, scary thing, you robots and stuff.
What
like
is
that.
it? Ember. So that's
It
like
said Ember.
September
Yeah.
or,
Ember.
or
Oh.
Yeah.
November.
No, it
Yeah,
didn't say
or
Burr.
December.
December.
No,
I
it
thought
said,
it
it just said Burr. That's it.
Really? I
No,
thought it
a
said they had
bird?
an M.
No,
Oh,
it
it's a
just said
bird.
No, it just
It
says
just
Burr.
said Burr.
That
Okay.
changes it. That
It said
changes
Burr,
it.
yeah.
That changes it.
So that means October, November,
October.
December.
I don't think November.
Yeah.
I don't think November.
God Howard will just like
Yeah.
take over. there.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
Praise his name.
It's either it's either gonna be yeah, I'll stick with September. I'll stick with September.
Okay.
I
What about
I
you?
always feel weird about September though, because like one of the games I like, I'm biased a little bit. Recore came out in
Yes,
September.
Recore was
and to
good.
me, I know I love that game. And it came out in September, and against all these other titles that came out in September, and I'm still salty about that. So I'm hoping. I don't want to know about September. Like it probably is. But
Recore came out too early. Recore was the most basically 3D Mega Man. That's what I
I've
call
had
it.
questions. I have had conversations about this too, and it's like they need at least, to me personally, they needed at least one more year of development time. That game would be amazing. Just 1 year or 6. I even give it an additional 6 months. I think when it even did it a solid. But I absolutely love. I think the controls on that game is so tight. And you're right. It reminds me of a 3D Mega Man. It's like one of the only 3D Metroidvania games in modern generation outside of like your Darksiders and your Zeldas and stuff like that. But it's to me it has legs, man. It needs a sequel.
Here's the thing. I don't want to get into any console wars. But when I look at Recore and I looked at playing Returnal, the concepts reminded me of the way they sort of played. In the sense,
I get upset with that because it's like they looked at Recore and was like, "Yo, we can take that, we can put this, they made took pieces and made a puzzle, and we can make this, and then we gonna roll like, and then we gonna, they took the dashing and the mechanics from Recore and put it. Oh,
and again, this is them. This is somebody else iterating on an idea that was there and
Right.
putting it to their own spin.
Well, see,
And the reason I say that is Days Gone. Days Gone is the State of Decay that I want, to an extent, because I love Days Gone. I love State of Decay from the sense of the perspective.
Days Gone to me is very different than State of Decay. Gameplay. I mean,
they are, but what I mean from a narrative perspective, I want.
Okay.
Meaning,
right.
I love State of Decay, but I feel that I also want a single
more
player
story
mode to
there,
it.
huh? Yeah.
Yes, I'm a story person. I mean, the first one, I remember the story where I had one of my survivors and we were trying to get into a pharmacy to get some meds. And all of a sudden, as I'm getting out of the pharmacy, this horde of zombies. And guess what happened? Me and one of 3 of my survivors of 5 went in the ditch, let the horde go, and 2 of my other people never made it out and died. So stuff like that, I loved about it.
That's your story, though. That's your story. That's the thing about that kind of game. It's like you create those moments. They happen in the game real time, and so you get to tell them. You're like, oh, yo, this happened, and just like you just did. Like, so to me, that's what CDK does. But I agree with you. I do think it needs it needs more meat, and this is why I'm hoping that State of Decay 3, that's an element that they focus on. It's like, how do we bring in that crowd that's looking for that story? It's kind of like with what Sea of Thieves is doing.
Yep.
So every time now I think about Sour Blow every time I think of Sea of Thieves. But it's like,
Don't get any ideas.
but that's what
I'm not gonna
like,
say
if
it.
you have did you all catch Sea of Thieves like recent update and how they talked about like how they want to
Oh, yes,
improve
I did.
story and you want to add to the adventure? I love that, like, because it's people like me who I love story as well, and I do like some of single player elements in games, so I definitely want to see that, and the fact to know that they're focusing on that, it does.
So
Can I
let's
just
have
say
this
one
debate
thing? Can I
about
just say
cross-
one thing?
No, because you're gonna. This is not the Sea of Thieves podcast. This is not a Sea of Thieves podcast. But I will allow it. But first, I need you to answer this. Sorry, Blow. You can answer because you're the Sea of Thieves expert, to an extent, the only expert on the show, actually. But so Sea of Thieves single player content. What crossover? You don't be Pong Soul and choose like 5. One. One crossover you would love to see in Sea of Thieves.
Oh, definitely One Piece.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's a
Okay.
good one.
Okay. Delilah?
They've done the Pirates of the Caribbean, so I would say that, but I think they can still kind of do more with that. But he already took One Piece. I don't even like One Piece. I don't watch One Piece, but I think I do understand what it is because my husband watches it, so I know. I'm like, okay, that's good. Wow, I don't know. Outside of Pirates of the Caribbean,
I got like 20 other
Goonies?
ideas.
The Goonies,
one,
yeah, Goonies is another good one.
Goonies, oh man, they should
Goonies.
have done
What about
the story that Goonies has with what's the guy's name? The pirate's name? I forgot. The pirate from the
One-eyed
Goonies.
Jack. What
One-
is it? That
One-eyed
one-eyed Jack.
One-eyed
There we go.
Yeah, one-eyed something.
One-eyed
Yeah.
Jack. Yeah,
One-eyed
that's it,
Jack.
One-eyed-
Can
You
you
got
imagine that
Monkey
story being in
Island?
Sea of Thieves? Monkey
Monkey Island.
yes, Monkey
Yes,
Island. I know what
Monkey
he's talking about.
Yep.
Tim of Legends, Monkey Island. Yeah, it's a point and click adventure game. Old game. Which Double Fine worked
Isn't
on.
it? It's Tim Schafer, right?
Yeah, Tim Schafer.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Monkey Island, yes. Or Gilligan's Island, right? But we have
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's
Yeah.
Island. Nah.
You lost me with that one.
Yeah.
No. I would want either Peter Pan. Because I would
Pan's
love
another one.
the for the Alec the crocodile,
Oh, yeah.
and you start hearing the tick while you're in the water, and all of a sudden the crocodile comes up. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like it's so Sea of Thieves. There's so much they can do there. To me,
Yeah,
because
a
they
lot.
can. To me, I'm glad that the community they have a great following, and the community is really behind that game because I just see so much potential with it. So yeah, what's your gripe with it though, Mr. Jordan Dark? What do you don't like about Sea of Thieves?
We don't
Oh
have
no,
enough
nothing.
time.
He
I
doesn't
have
play
no.
it.
I have no gripe. I just
Oh.
like trolling. I like trolling Sour Blow.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I have no gripe with
Alright.
Sea of Thieves.
Yes.
But Silent
Right.
Cipher, what crossover? Before we give Sour Blow 1 minute to just talk about Sea of Thieves.
This one's going to be one that none of you will know at all, probably, and it's fair because it was
The
a
Love
terrible
Boat?
movie. No, no. So I'll
Mermaid,
drop a
Little
trailer. I'll drop a trailer in the chat or in our group chat so you can see it. But there was a movie. It was just called Pirate Movie, and it had Christy
What?
McNichols in it,
That's what it was called.
and it had it was
That's,
just
wow,
pirate movie.
that's original.
Wow.
Just
Pirate.
pirate movie. I know.
Pirate
I know it's really original, but it was really really good. It was a musical, so a little bit different than what you guys are suggesting and going for. But it was just it was very much just a B movie comedy about pirates, and this girl basically gets like hit in the head or something when she's going on some field trip with her friends, and she goes into this dream world where everything around her is like this big musical. Everyone around her that she sees at the pier and all that stuff basically get associated into the dream. And it's just it's a goofy, like it's got a lot of adult theme to it, which if you go to it now after seeing it as a kid, you're like, oh, I didn't realize that was in there. but it's just funny to go back and watch, and it's terrible. But again, it's just one of those things where like I'd like to see something with just more. Rare is really good with the comedy. They're good with just that type of approach, right?
Yes.
Like that's why I think the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff worked so well, is because it's very much in their wheelhouse to be kind of cheeky, you know? And so it just works. That's why that one pops in my mind, is just more of a comedy type of thing.
Speaking of comedy, they can go Bikini Bottom.
Oh, SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, yeah.
No.
That's
want-
it. That was
Wait,
that was
yeah.
that was
No,
a minute.
no,
That was a
no,
minute. See,
no.
okay. Moving on.
Oh, no,
No, bro,
that
you
one.
messed up. You messed
Wait,
up.
wait,
I
what?
gave you.
You get to go. You
gave
get to
you
go
a
to the penalty
chance.
box now.
It's gonna be less than a minute. What I was gonna say.
Okay, I'm gonna put a
Yeah,
clock
so-
right now. Hurry up.
My
Okay,
clock
what I was
is
gonna
ready.
say is I love the fact that they're gonna do now. The stories are gonna be like you go on your adventures and you make your own story. Well, it's kind of what it is already, but what you do is gonna affect the whole world, and that's really interesting. And I think that's something that maybe State of Decay can adapt. Do that interest you, Joanna? Like that, is an open world where, is a world where you make certain decisions and that kind of affects the world and it evolves
So
around what the community
I
do?
played Sea of Thieves when it was bare bones.
That doesn't
and
count.
Never went back to it, And I know I want to jump into the Pirates of the Caribbean, but I think I've told you this offline. I have commitment issues with online games because I feel that I'm gonna get so hooked on them
Oh,
Yeah.
that there's gonna be a problem. So what I do is in my mind, I just program myself to say I don't want it, and I do it with
Yeah.
so many games
No, I do
because
that too. I'm not going
Eh, eh,
front.
yeah.
and
do
you
that
know
too.
why? I just love my single player, but I love JRPG so much. It's like that's my hook. My JRPGs, I have to play one at least once a month. So it's like one of those things. And like I said, we're gonna play hopefully ESO tonight. And
Yes.
part of me, every time I'm like, hey, should I play online? I'm like, no. And then I look at Dying Light 2, I look at Sifu, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go jump. Kind of like what Silent Cypher does with his addiction to Forza.
Well, if you want to
Yeah,
try the Pirates of the Caribbean, that one is kind of more like chapters, and it's not like the rest of the game where like you hop in to like play 30 an hour or so, and that hour becomes hours and hours because things keep happening. But Pirate of the Caribbean is kind of like more close, like storyline driven adventure. So you can do one per day, for example. It takes like an hour maybe, and a little bit more. So it's something easier for people that want that experience.
Yeah, I heard they call you the sinker in CFDs because you just sink ships even before they sail.
Now this
Oh, no.
this is
No,
not
he
Forza.
puts. Nah, you do see. Oh man, he puts
Wait.
them on top of the mountains. He makes them fly. He does everything to those ships. No
Wait,
joke.
Starblow, are you a Power Legend?
Yes. Oh, long time ago. Yes.
He paid for it. That's what he did.
No. No, and I did it before the that Thief Haven update, which
Got it.
that made it
Delilah,
super easy. Like
if-
that's
if you ever-
it doesn't even count anymore if you're a Pirate Legend.
If you ever play
Ay.
Halo or any games with
Hurt my
Salvador,
heart. So
it's
if I was
his
to Power
son.
Legend, it wouldn't count. Got it.
It's his son. It's his son playing because he doesn't know how to play. We found out that his son is really good at playing games.
Oh wow. Dang,
Yes, I mean,
exposed.
yep.
Savage.
We were like, hey, we were playing Halo with him. We were like, man, Salvador, you only have 2 kills. And then all of a sudden, the next round, Salvador, you're carrying us. And it's his son in the background, like, yeah. I'm like, there it is.
There
There.
it is. Yep.
But anyway, Atomic Heart. So now Nintendo Direct. I know by a raise of hand who got to see the Nintendo Direct real quick. Okay, so I'll give a rundown of what was shown, and then anyone who wants to chime in on a specific game can let me know their hype level. So they showed a new Front Mission. If you're a fan of Front Mission, they showed Chrono Cross. I don't know if somebody's a fan of Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross.
Chrono Trigger.
Then they showed Chrono Trigger. Delilah, do you play Nintendo? Do you have a Switch?
Yes, I have a Switch. Last thing I played was the Metroid game. What was it?
Dread.
Gosh. Dread. Yes, Dread.
There was
Oh man.
content for
Difficult.
that.
Um, But yeah, I have a Switch. So yeah, I mean,
You sound sad when you said it. You're like, yeah, I gotta.
because it's like I'm just thinking about the fact that I haven't touched it in a while, and so I
Oh
feel a little
man,
bit I feel a little sad that I haven't
this
haven't
Nintendo
bought,
slander. This Nintendo
Well,
slander.
it's this show is called Xbox International, and I expect to get Nintendo
Yeah.
questions.
Ex-
But
Hey, we give
I'm
love to
just
all
saying.
consoles. Next thing you know,
Well,
we're gonna have
hold-
Crazy
hold
Lou
on.
saying, "Oh, my PS5 just has dust there."
No,
We-
I mean,
We discuss
my-
all
my-
consoles.
my Switch gets a little bit of love. Usually it's when like we, having like growing game night, we playing Mario Kart or something like that. But it's not. It's a handheld. I treat it as it's like I keep it docked though, but I don't. It's not my primary way to game. I rarely play mobile games. I'm always playing. I primarily play on television and at my computer when I'm playing PC games. Like right now, I'm playing. Is it how you pronounce it? I think it's Sifu.
Sifu. Oh my! Do you love it?
Man,
Oh,
it's so good. Like I thought that it's difficult. Oh my goodness. My first playthrough, I made it to like age made it through. That means I was losing, by the way. That I aged all the way up to like 68, I think.
but
Yeah.
what levels did you make it? What, like second level, third level, fourth?
Third level.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean it's like it's a difficulty spike in the middle. And I'm like, man, what happened? Because I was rolling, I mean, when I was younger, especially because the way the game is made, it's like when you're younger, you're faster, and that game for it to be an indie game did a good job with the systems. Like the systems in that game is insane. And then the way the combat, the ebb and flow of the combat, and like the weapons you get to utilize in the game, it's like I'm already thinking about playing it just because of the fact that it's so entertaining, and every time you go through the playthrough, it's different. It's good, and I'm not even a fan of roguelikes. I don't even like roguelike games. I don't even like Souls.
Have you played Hotline Miami ever?
No.
So what I like about Sifu, as I've been playing, is Hotline Miami is this game similar to Sifu in an extent, where one hit, one kill. And what happens is you go into the room, and your whole thing is to be able to kill everyone in that room without getting touched.
Right.
So playing Sifu, you're right. I was playing. I think right now I started it. Second level, I made it to age 23, and then I got to level 3, and I was just like, man, I'm terrible. But what I love about it is that it's not the game.
Yeah.
Yes, but you want more. But you want more. That's the thing.
You feel like you know why you lost the fight. You're like, okay, I went in there, I killed all the little minions, and I had the boss, and then the boss screwed me because of this. Next time I need to do a sidestep and block low and then go high. Like you just feel like a martial artist. I know it sounds crazy, but you feel like a martial artist when you play that game.
When you're doing your hands, and all of a sudden you just do all those. You're like, what?
Yes.
And you're like, or you take like the bats and you just throwing them at them, and you're like, yo.
Right. Or did you unlock the ability where someone throws something at you, you can catch it? Yo, it's the most sickest thing ever. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Welcome to the seafood spoiler cast, but no, Sifu, I highly recommend it. If you have PCs on the Epic Game Store, and you can actually save $10 if you sign up for their mail, because I got the game for $30 on the Epic Game Store, so it was pretty good. I definitely highly recommend it. Absolver was the other game they made. So I know since
I didn't care for Absolver like that though. Like Absolver to me was like, but
you could tell weapons.
Right, but you can really see the progression like between Absolver and Sifu. Like it's like, yo,
it's like night
combat,
and day.
It feels so nice. It feels natural. Like I don't know how to put it words.
It's hard because we usually have fighting games, but the details of how you're fighting. Put it this way: if you're a big fan of kung fu movies or just martial arts movie, this is like living out your kung fu fantasies in a movie. The way you hit, the way you do everything. So I definitely recommend it. Since I know, continue. Sorry.
If I had to pick one negative though, for me it would be the camera. Sometimes the camera switches up on you. Like I had this one point where it's fully 3D and I'm doing 3-dimensional fighting or whatever, and then I go into the next room and the camera pans to the like a little bit to the right, and now I'm like side scroll. It's a cool transition. it doesn't feel jarring. But when you start fighting, it's like I'm so used to a certain stance to now I feel like a little handicapped when they change the camera. Um,
That happened to me a couple of times where all of a sudden, like, where am I? And then you
right.
reset it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and you
it's
have to really think about how you position your character when you're fighting too. And I think that, like I said, it handicapped me when I was fighting because it's like, yo, I knew how to bait the character I was fighting against when I was in a certain when the camera was at a certain angle. But now that the camera switched, I'm like, I don't know which if I hit down on the analog stick, am I gonna be able to side swipe and do the same? Like it just threw me off. And so hopefully, I'm not the only one that has said this, so hopefully they'll take that feedback if they've heard it and make the adjustment because it's weird, but
it, especially for a game that is all about timing and
right,
just the overall art of how to actually, once you got everything down, it's very kind of immersion breaking when all of a sudden the camera and you're like, where am I? And you
right,
forget all that. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry for the sidebar, but yeah.
No, no. Since I know this is, nobody wants to talk Nintendo, I definitely want to move on to the next one, and it has to do with GTA 6. So this week they confirmed that they have GTA 6 apparently kind of starting kind of like the whole process of getting that. And I guess I wanted to get your thoughts on, is this exciting? Are we finally going to be able to play a new GTA 6? And I guess my question with that is, do you think it's going to be a single player or a multiplayer experience? So let's start with Silent Cypher.
I'm really hoping you didn't just will it into existence that it's only going to be a multiplayer thing. Because I'll tell you right now, if it's only multiplayer, another piece of my heart is going to die. Just like what it did when GTA 5 came out and single player content basically got shelved to support the multiplayer instead. Um, no, honestly, there's a few things about this that make me nervous, right? The fact that they're now coming out and saying, "Hey, we're working on this," and blah blah blah. I worry with all the stuff going on over at Rockstar right now. How far are we actually in the process, right? Like in the actual development process. Are we talking early days? Has it been super
Mm,
tumultuous for the last few years? Having lost one of the Hauser brothers and all that stuff. Like, it just makes me really nervous, especially after seeing the remaster of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. It just makes me kind of nervous. Like, where are we actually at? And is this going to be, from some of the core group that we've seen make GTA 5, GTA 4, stuff like that? Like, are we going to see a drastic departure? Are we going to see the game suffer to an extent because of all the things that are happening at the company?
mm,
Okay. That is interesting because we know GTA Online continues to thrive, and we know that
Yeah.
we've all purchased GTA 5 at one point, and it continues to sell. It's like for some reason, either people are buying it for their kids or their babies or whatever, but it just keeps selling.
So,
Um,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I forget which podcast it was. Just was it on Booms? I think it was on Booms yesterday. Someone brought up the fact that it's cheaper right now for you to buy the game and get the
mhm.
shark card than it is
wow.
Yep.
to just get the shark cards. So that's probably also inflating those numbers, right, of copies sold. I hadn't really ever thought about it, but it makes a lot of sense. If you do something like that, it's gonna make those numbers look real good. So
Okay.
I bet you there's some of that.
Sourblowell, what do you think about this? And then I guess my next question as well is to add this, since Cypher made some good points. Do you think that because of how, GTAs have been controversial, right? We have all these things that are kind of, they were accepted at one point, but now as we've grown as a society, some of those things are taboo. Kind of like Conquer, right? Conquer, I love Conquer,
Yes.
but if you look at Conquer's Bad Fur Day, you're like, what the hell is happening here? So do you think also, my question is, do you think it's also GTA 6? They don't know what to do with it or how to modernize it in 2022 and beyond?
I could see that definitely being an issue. The fact how social media these days they're pretty sensitive, and maybe they, that could be part of the issues. Also, what Brian said, it's troubling everything going on there. We don't know in what position they're in right now, and we don't know also if they're just thinking about the money. I mean, if you already have something that's selling, why waste all your waste money on producing something that you don't know how it's going to be received when you already have a product there that's giving you money. But we just gotta see. Hopefully they'll start working with it and they stay true to what GTA really is. Maybe what they might do is start teasing us maybe a few years before they actually get pretty in advance to see what will be people reaction, and then depending on that they might pivot on what they do with the game. Like, do they have to bring it down a little or what they can do?
Do you think this GTA comes out, as a final question, towards the end of this generation, similar to kind of what we saw with GTA 5, where it kind of came at the tail end of a generation and then it kind of trickled into the next one? Do you think they use the same strategy?
I think it all will depend because we don't know how long this generation is gonna be. Because I think this is gonna be a long generation. I don't think it's gonna be like all the few past generation. I think this might be an even longer generation. I mean, these consoles are pretty powerful. So yeah.
Delilah, did you like GTA? Or did you? No, not really.
No,
Have you played any of the GTAs prior to that?
No, believe it or not, I had something traumatic happen in my life when the time when GTA came out. So it turned me off of the game, and I never desired to jump back into it. So just to kind of so your minds won't run wild too much. Yeah, my sister passed away at 16. She was hit by a car, and so I was watching someone play GTA, and the only thing they kept doing was hitting people with the car, over and over again. It made me sick, and so I couldn't. During that time, I was going through a lot. It just did something to me, and I never cared for GTA. For that matter. And it's crazy because like later on, I played games like I played a little bit of Saints Row and kind of had some of the same things in that game too. So I was able to get past it eventually. And I heard good things about GTA as far as like storytelling and whatnot, but it's just never I just never decided to like jump into it or anything like that. And a lot of people always suggested to me, "Oh, you should just play the story. I'm pretty sure you'll like it." And, so when I heard this, I'm like, whatever, I'm not invested. But I do. I my opinion on this though, as far as the single player multiplayer narrative, is that I think they're gonna make a single player experience, and simply because GTA Online is so big, they don't want to segment that that audience. Because they could think about it, they could continuously update and promote GTA Online, but they can have a new single player experience that continuously bring in new people into the franchise. And so I feel like they could have a happy medium there, being able to just promote both and provide content for both. I look at like Halo Infinite in the same light. How they, with MCC, how they kind of brought the community together with having all of the multiplayer modes in one package. And then they got Halo Infinite, which is, while it's new, it's still familiar, right? It's not like it's drastically different. Because it is Halo at the end of the day. And so I see them doing that. I don't see them all of a sudden, oh, we're just gonna make another GTA Online and that's gonna be GTA 6. I don't see that at all. I think they recognize that people like their single player experience, and I think they're gonna devote the time and effort into that. And also I look at recent history and how they were able to handle what was it, the cowboy game? What was it called?
Red Dead
Red Dead
Redemption?
Redemption. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption too. Like their storytelling is amazing, right? So
Yeah.
I think they know where their strengths are, and that allow them to keep GTA Online going while providing something new for fans. So that's my take.
Crazy. What are your thoughts? What do you think about GTA 6?
Before though we keep going, let me say hi to the chat. We have not said hi to the chat today, have we?
All right.
All
No, we have not. Let's
right.
go.
Good point.
Let's go. Let's start with my Halo brother retro nerd. Welcome, my dear brother John TJ. I see you're working and listening to us. That's awesome. We're gonna play this weekend. Remember, buddy. Matt Burns, welcome to the show, my brother. Okay, who else do we have down here? Oh, Brisket for the Biscuit, as always, hanging around here with us. Awesome, Brisket. Ooh, Lady Infamous is here. Hello, Lady Infamous. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Also, let me keep going down because
Grasso.
oh yeah, Tony Grasso is here as always. Oh, my brother Tony Grasso. Who else do we have? I saw
Juan Miguel.
Juan Miguel, as
yeah.
always, hanging out with us. Yes, even though he does not understand our English, but I think he's using the Google Translate.
Just like Brian
He's
does
like
on,
me.
on the,
Yep.
on the gaming
He's
lobby.
just like me.
Just like- Also, who else is here? Let me see. Tony Grasso, my Burns. Hello, Gerald Mack, my dear brother. Welcome, Gerald Mack. Dante, which is Juan Miguel again. Oh, Boogie. Hey, El Boogie, what's up? And welcome to the show. Who else? Going down the list because, wow, this chat's been going on. Oh, man.
I think we Jedi Peter's here. Jedi Knight
Yep.
Peter.
Jedi Knight Peters here. Jay Vargas Savas.
Oh, Just
Jay-
Key dropped in. Fam is here.
Fam is here.
Oh, yeah.
Fam, no way. Fam is here. Oh, Fam. Hey, Fam, what's up? Oh, man. Wait, what else? Oh, wait. Oh, Jay Vargas, my brother, have a safe flight. And thank you for coming by. I don't know where he's going, but have a safe flight, my dear brother. And yeah, thank you for coming by. So yeah, let's go. We're all set. So what do I think about the GTA 6 thing? I have a question for the panel though. First about GTA 6 when it comes out. How do you guys want the game to be? You guys want it to be single player, or do you guys want it to? I mean, a single player like only just one person, or you guys want it to have multiple characters like it did the last one?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question because I'll be honest with you. I want it to be the multiple players. I mean, I had a lot of fun with Trevor. Trevor's my favorite. You all know why I love Trevor, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because he's crazy.
Yep, especially when you land on him and sometimes he's out on the field with the bottle in his underwear, Yeah.
I think
Trevor's cool though.
I think it's probably I would agree with you. I hope they go that route. I think it's probably a good thing, especially with a character as dynamic as Trevor was. I feel like it's a really good thing to pull away from him sometimes and shift to something completely different. Because with him, he got into some intense stuff on a regular basis. Not gonna spoil or anything, but there were definitely some situations where like you needed a break after the situation because it just made you feel like you needed to just go take a quick walk, come back. So if you shifted to another character or something, it changed that tone. It got you out of that mindset. It got your mind off of what heavy content you just went through,
How about you, Sarah? How do you want it to be? Multiple or just one character?
He wants it to be in the sea.
I think they should have both options, for different players. Some people love the multiplayer, some people love the story side.
No. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with the what happened with GTA 6. Before, like for example, you GTA 4, GTA 5. Sorry. Before GTA 4, you only have what's this guy's name? The Russian game, the guy's name.
Nico Bellic.
You don't have Nico Bellic. Now for this one, you had Michael DeSanto, you have Frank.
Oh, you mean
Franklin.
player? Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
now.
multiple players.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean-
wait, hold on. Only on Xbox. Welcome, my brother, to the show. Yeah, I had to do a shout out to him. Sorry, only on Xbox because I read too fast on the list.
Yeah, we probably missed some
Okay,
other more people. So
Yes,
hi
yes,
to
yes.
everyone that has been
Apologies.
in the chat. Yes,
Apologies.
apologies. Yeah, I prefer personally that they. I mean, it depends how time consuming it is. I'm not a developer, but if it's very demanding, very time consuming, I prefer that they spend time on one character and just make a great story with one character, and maybe later down the line, instead of just keep remastering the game, why don't you add more characters with more story down the line? That's what I would prefer.
How about you, Mr. Joanna?
So I own GTA 5 and I purchased it for every console. I've never gotten past the tutorial.
So you're the reason they still stuck on making this game, milking the
Yes,
crap out of this IP.
I remember.
You're
This is
the
my
Yeah.
Where
this
is
is
my
my
stick?
this is my Nintendo in me where I rebuy stuff. That's the Nintendo programming
yeah.
in me, right?
I mean, I double dip
Like
sometime, but that's
I buy
that's a lot.
Mario like 12 times. But so
Wow.
one of my favorite GTAs is GTA 4. I love Nico Bellic. The Ballad of Gay Tony was one of my favorite DLCs. So would I like multiple characters? Sure. But if anything, I would like instead to focus on one specific character and kind of what GTA 4 did, give you a lot of secondary strong characters per se. And I guess my key thing with GTA, and Delilah kind of brought a good point of, is how can they modernize it to be relevant and not just be a game that's just about, yes, it's about running people over, and there's a reason behind that. There's some people that just use the crazy open world to do things like that. And I want to see what type of storytelling can evolve from this, because they've had some good stories there, but with, of course, the times. So I want to see how they tackle. Are they going to tackle current situations, current things that are going on, and give me that experience? Because again, storytelling has evolved to an extent, and I definitely just don't want something that I played back like Vice City, which was cool for the times, but to me, as someone that's evolved in the storytelling of gaming, I definitely want that thing. But I agree with the fact that there can be a separate SKU and kind of take the Halo Infinite route, where you still have your player base that wants to do that kind of immersion role playing that we see on the internet, while you still have your base that also single player. So it's going to be interesting. I just want to know when and where, and when we get that teaser.
It's gonna be a
I want to
long
know
wait.
what Delilah
It's
thinks.
a way
Oh man,
off.
yeah.
I think it's a ways off.
It's probably close though, because I mean, it's probably
No.
close. Because you
No.
think not? Because they got
It felt like they were strong armed to that announcement a little bit to me, just because of the way Twitter was kind of going back and forth with it.
yeah.
Also, if we haven't seen anything concrete really at this point, like diving into it, or at least like showing us something or giving us some detail, it makes me really nervous, the idea of, yes, we are in the process of working on this or starting this, right? Like that tells me, okay, we're talking like a 5 to 7 year timeline still,
Oh dear
potentially.
Lord.
Yeah.
In which, yes, it could be at the end of this generation.
Oh
But Delilah,
no.
2028.
what do you think?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like I think they probably did that too, because we've seen other development houses do this, where they'll put something out in order to get people interested to joining their studio in order to work on the game. We've been seeing that a lot. It's surprising me though that people are putting this stuff on Twitter. It's like, because you have ArtStation, you have in LinkedIn, you could talk about the positions on those, career-based websites. It's like, man, they on Twitter just like, oh yeah, you're working on this, and trying to engage interest just from other creators. And of course, the fans are gonna see it and run with it. Because I believe Ubisoft did the same thing when they mentioned Splinter Cell. It's like, why did that? They could have had that at the Game Awards. They could have teased it with like the 3 goggles and the goggles with 3 lights, and had this whole big, enthusiasm, and they could have hyped up the game a little bit. But they decided to just, we're just gonna tweet and say, yeah, we're working on that.
They had
and
done
get some
that
people
with
to-
Splinter Cell. Oh my god. Oh, if we would have
Yeah.
seen the 3 lights
Oh,
at the Video
man, you
Game
know how
Awards, those things pop on.
Yo,
That's all they needed to do, by the way, because
Oh,
everyone
man.
knows what that is.
Oh
They could
yeah,
have just said
100%.
the little sound they do and said,
Yep.
Splinter Cell showed up. That'd have been it.
Ah.
Yep.
I mean, the only time they've done that is when they say Splinter Cell mobile game, and you're like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, that was such a missed opportunity. That was such a bummer.
Yeah.
Because it was
But,
like, it wasn't even a month away. Like, it was like the Game Awards was what, December 8th,
December
I think.
8th.
December
Yeah,
8th.
December 8th.
And then they had the announcement with early January.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on.
That could have been a great announcement to get hyped, and then go back on Twitter and be like, hey, we're hiring. So
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, come on, what's marketing got to get on it? PR, come on, y'all.
Maybe they want to hire people from Twitter, because we have so many developers on Twitter. Every
Like,
day
all the
I'm like,
influencers.
I would do this. I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
whew. I was like, get my degree. Where did you get a degree on? Twitter. Yeah, I'm a Twitter dev. But nah, anyway. Moving on to the next
Man.
news, and I know this has been beaten. You know, Scalebound is like this game that never dies,
Oh,
right?
don't do it. Don't do it.
And
Don't do it.
and
Don't
and
do
here's my
it.
thing, right?
no.
I'm gonna say this,
Lord.
right? And this reminds me of a story, a quick story, because I definitely want to get to better topics that we have coming up. I remember that I was so hyped to play this game called Ill Bleed. It was a game that got canceled because at the times it was too graphic. Mind you, Mortal Kombat was on. Cool. What happened was they this mom and pop shop called, shout out to Boom Variety if it's still there in Brooklyn. That's where I got all my imports. So all of the day I go and I say, hey Boom, what's up? He's like, yo, guess what I got? I was like, what? He's like, I got that game Ill Bleed that eventually became a Wu-Tang game, right? And he was like, how much is it? He was like, $25 for a demo, mind you. So I said, all right, let me get it.
Wow.
I bought this for $25. That's how bad I wanted to play this. I play this and I'm like, why? Why that even? Like, I literally wasted a month of my actual, allowance on this. And that's what I say. I mean, again, nothing against Scalebound. And I look at it, I'm big. I love Platinum games, but it just seems that people want this game so bad. And I feel eventually just give it to us. And then I want to see their reaction when you finally, hey, this is Scalebound.
Man. I'm really scared to touch this topic a little bit because of the fact that that game. I used to have my own YouTube channel. That game is the reason why I left YouTube. I had made this. I'm serious because that was my life. I've took the video down now. I think I took it down. Yeah, I think I took the video down.
What was the title? What was that of the video?
It was about I went a full blown in depth breakdown analysis of Scalebound. I found like all this unreleased footage, spliced it all together, talked about all the different elements, all the RPG elements. I showed like the UI breakdown, everything. And so when it got canned, it just did something to me. I'm like, you know what? I put so much work into that video, and when it got cut, I was just like, yo, like, why did I do all of that? This video is not even worth anything now. It's like it's like an archive item. But what's so crazy? If you look at the comments of that video, he was like, "Oh, thanks for breaking this down. I didn't know this was in the game. I didn't know this, such and such and such and such." And it's like it's like I had renewed all this enthusiasm behind it because that last showing was people were like disappointed a little bit in that showing, and that was the whole reason. That's what inspired me to do the video. And so people in the comments was like, Microsoft should have did what you did, like broke down everything as far as the game, so people will understand what's going on, So I have a little soft spot for that game.
My question is, did you like what you saw from the game? Like, since you put so much.
The thing is, for me, I was biased because of the fact that I like Platinum, and I know they can make great games. I've played great games from them, between Vanquish and Bayonetta.
Oh, Vanquish,
and
man.
Wow. Nier Automata.
Nier Automata, yeah. All of those games, like it's one of those to where we've seen bad games from them too, but their primary unit, I would like to call it like an A team, B team. It's like they know how to make great games because that game Astro Chain on Nintendo Switch,
man,
it's
that is
crazy.
so good.
It's crazy.
I'm waiting for a sequel.
So it's like we know that they know how to make quality titles, and maybe just with that game specifically that they bit off more than they can chew, and so it kind of put them in a tough spot. But I would love to see this game come back simply because it'd be kind of like I get a bit of closure, and and I think I honestly think that they can put out a great title. I think they can make it great because we know that they can nail the combat.
Yep.
As far as the RPG, I was gonna say for the RPG part of it all, because that's what they weren't unfamiliar with, was the RPG elements. You can look at Nier Automata. People say it different ways, and see the elements that they did for like RPG, and kind of get a general sense and idea of where they can take the game. We know they can do this. It's just a matter of, I think it was more of a tech issue.
They weren't familiar with Unreal 4. That was
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it was more of a tech issue, like you said, engine. So if they're able to do something in order to either, make this game come to fruition, I wouldn't be mad at it. I love games, so I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
This game
Um,
reminded me of a Monster Hunter, but with stories and RPG elements. And when I rewatched the video yesterday, and I was like, okay,
but it's
if you want
so
to
not
monetize this,
because like
correct.
I broke the game down. Like I broke it. It's not. It's nothing like Monster Hunter. You know,
Well, the
it's
reason I said Monster Hunter because it had some. When I was
the
thinking now,
scale.
if you bring it back,
Yeah.
the monsters that you had with the dragons, what if you can add as a multiplayer aspect? Now that you've seen Monster Hunter World and all these other
Yeah.
games, add that to, I guess, when you want to play the game cooperatively. Again, I don't know
Yeah.
how to make games.
The scale of it. Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, because you have like a, but the fact that you're riding on the back of a dragon, you can get off the dragon, and that whole element of riding a dragon and getting off the dragon and interacting with the world
That
reminded
was
me of
dope.
like it reminded me of what's that game like on OG Xbox, Crimson Skies. You know how you can
Yes.
drive, you can fly the plane and you get low enough, you get
Yep.
out.
Yep.
Like I thought that was so cool. I'm like, oh, they're bringing that back. Like that to me, that was a hark to that old innovation back then, and so I was super excited for Scalebound.
Yep.
And then, but what's interesting about that is when it was canceled, I kind of understood. I understood why. I understood why it was canceled. I mean, we all could see it. Like this game every year after year, they keep talking about this game, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better, right? Um, and so I mean, it kind of it is what it is. But if I feel like it's just being, thinking about how developers think and creators, how they think, it's like, man, if I want to do this, if I want to make that, who are you to prevent me from making it? Like that's how I look at it in regards to platinum side. It's like I just want to create. I just want to make this. I know we can make this a great game. To me, that enthusiasm should be more than enough for them to greenlight it. But that's just my opinion.
Crazy.
Oh
I'll leave it
man,
at
platinum games. I mean, this is something that I was like, why now? Like, why?
that.
Yeah.
Plug. I mean, if you would pay attention to like platinum games in general, just in the
Yeah.
articles and stuff that they wrote, like I want to say CEO recently resigned, and I think by Kimya and was it Anda? I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but
Camilla.
they're now. I mean, yeah.
Hideki Kamiya.
Hideki
Yeah.
Kamiya, yeah.
So they're the VP and president and VP. Those two are the president and VP. So I think now they have more creative control because of the fact
Yep.
that the guy who was above them resigned, and so now they're probably trying to play to that strength. Like, oh yeah, we can get a partner, so on and so forth. Like I said, I hope something come of this. As a fan,
Yes.
as someone who loves RPGs, as someone who
Yeah.
at one point was super hyped for Scalebound. I'm biased. I would love to see it come back.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I just want the main character to have Surface headphones instead of Beats.
Thanks. Let's go.
Let's
What's a
Oh,
service
man.
headphone? Yeah.
Would if Scalebound gets greenlit, Delilah, will you put that video back up for the audience to watch?
Facts. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I need to see if it's up. Actually, I think I took it down
Yeah.
though. To be honest.
If anyone
I was-
at
It is. I
Xbox
know I
Game
took it
Studios is watch, please make Scalebound happen so we can watch Delilah's amazing
Yes,
breakdown.
Yes.
So
But here's the
Luke,
thing-
what's up?
Oh man, let me tell you though. This is the thing. When it happened though, it was
Yeah.
2016, right? When it got canceled. Microsoft took the blame. I mean, nobody said anything. It was oh, Microsoft. I mean, you guys treat developers bad. I remember because it was in the whole console war issue on chats and everything. Everybody's like, oh, Microsoft is doing this and doing that. I was like, something happened though. I was told myself something happened because we're just hearing one side of the story. We're not hearing the other side. And what I found weird was that all of a sudden, November 2021, Hideki Kamiya just comes out and starts talking about this. I was like, why now? Why so long?
You gotta think about it from a creative, like it's like you gotta think about it. Anytime you create something, it's like a part of you. And I think that's what he sees with that game. Why he won't let it go? Because it's like a baby. Like he's incubating this child, and he can't.
But,
You know?
but yeah, but
and it didn't allow it to flourish.
Right.
yeah, but the thing is, though, he did not talk about it in 2016. He waited 5 years to come out.
Here's the thing.
and say
You also have to
something,
understand that it's a business, so there's NDAs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
think about it when, quick example to go back to you, Lou, is when the
Right.
person, I forgot his name, that left Windows 8, once Windows 8 happened,
Oh, that's a good one.
he could not talk about whatever because there's things in your contract that state that you're
All right.
not able to
Got
talk
it.
about certain things. You know,
Yeah, I got it. All right, cool. I get you. But yeah, okay. So he comes out now and talks about it. Okay, and then all of a sudden, 3 months later, right? He just says, "Hey, Microsoft, let's work on this again. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go." And people are talking about it like, yeah, should it happen? Should it not? I mean, I'll be honest with you. For me, I'm with Delilah. I want it to happen. I wanted to happen. Why? Because I saw the game, and I'm a guy who loves to play video games. I mean, I don't care which game it is. I just love to play. And when I see a game gets canceled, it breaks my heart because really, I always want to see their minds. I want to see what they can do, and always try something different. And that Scalebound game was something different. I can imagine because if Delilah dissected the whole thing and made a video about it, then I can imagine all the awesome RPG elements that was going to come in that game that would have been fun.
Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys don't know. Like the video I spliced together, it shows how you can modify the dragon. It showed,
Ooh.
yeah, it showed a lot. I went through and I just looked up a bunch of like
Now I
Japanese.
really want to see this video.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I looked up a lot of like I knew they were doing like pressers in Japan, like over the game and other gaming related conventions over there, and I was like, I knew that they would be there. I knew Platinum was going to be there because I saw their name on the thing. And sure enough, I found the interviews, I found like the video. They showed the media, the behind the doors, like things that they showed, and I was like, yo, no one's seen it. I had some exclusive content. I was like, no one's seen this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's what I said. That I mean, if you dissected it because you were so excited about it, I mean, now I'm getting more excited. Let's say, now I really want it.
Yeah.
Now I really want it. I want to see this game come out.
Yes.
they had some interesting systems in it. 'Cause like I said, you could modify both the dragon and I think his name was Drew. I don't want to say Drew. I don't know why I want to say Drew, but Drew and
dragon?
Tuban. I think, yeah, the dragon was named Tuban, and the character was named Drew. But it was Drew and Tuban, and Tuban. Like I know the whole back. This is the craziest thing. Like
please share. Hey, you're the you're the Scalebound expert. We got
like I said, I was so invested, y'all. Like I did my due diligence because I didn't want to put a bad video out. I did so much work into it, and then it was like someone took my homework, balled it up, and threw it in the trash. So yeah, I don't even want to go into it now because I mean, the concept of the game was super dope. Story was super dope because the whole concept was like you got this human guy who's fused with this dragon, and it's like, how does he get back home, basically, and how did he get there because he's human, and how did he get fused, and how does he get back home? Like it was this whole other underlying like story element to it.
And knowing Platinum, the way they've done like near Automata and everything, they have great storytelling.
Yes, they will be able to show that like in a cut, like the cutscene splicing is really good too when you transition from like having a cutscene to a fight. So it's I just really wish it would that last couple trailers would have showed well. 'Cause I think it would have really changed the perception of where Microsoft was probably going to take the game, or want to present to people. But when you start hearing that, oh, this looks bad, oh, this is such and such and such, it just changed your whole mindset sometimes. And you got to think about where Xbox was at the time as a business. You know what I mean? They weren't in the same state that they're in now. They didn't have the same people in place. It was a different regime. So it's.
I think you hit it too. It was kind of like a tale of kind of like a casualty of two philosophies. Where this game, I think, with the scope and scale of it, was a little bit too early for the times compared to what we're at now. Game Pass, infrastructure, the tools. I was talking about PlayFab, right?
Imagine this because this is the way Scalebound was as far as from a multiplayer standpoint. Imagine Destiny. How do I put it? Yeah, imagine Destiny with dragons. And you had these different, as far as the world, like you had these different infrastructures. You can fly you can fly, take your dragon and literally fly to the other infrastructures. Like, and so that would be like your raid. And you know what? I'm gonna leave it alone.
Man, now I need this game. If anybody from Xbox is watching, please Please,
I'm just saying.
this game
Let's
back.
make it happen.
Delilah,
but-
you
but here's-
should be on that meeting with Hideki Kamiya and Phil Spencer.
No,
Say,
you
well,
see,
let me
I think
show you.
I
Let me-
really, but see, the thing is, what I don't know, and this is the part that scares me with if they were to bring it back, is we don't know how far along they were, and then because the game was in development for a long time, and so we don't know like how far in development they were, because it could be a situation to where they were pretty early in development, and they only got like um only a part of what they were scoping out done versus okay, yeah, we got all the single player done and we just need to figure out the multiplayer. But
Yeah,
that when you
uh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that that another thing I was hinting though, because let's be honest, right now Microsoft is buying studios. I mean, when I saw that, I said, it's probably like they're hinting they're gonna. I think MS is looking for Japanese studios for a while, so maybe that could be a good buy for them. I mean, it could be a hint. I don't know. It can happen. I don't know. I'm just saying it out there, man. I think it can happen.
Who knows? I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
It's one of
Yeah.
those things to where
Yeah.
it's such a crapshoot. 'Cause I see both sides. I see the negatives, and I see why someone as big as Microsoft can be like, yo, I'm not touching that anymore. Like we tried, yo, this didn't work out. I'm done. I can see that easily. So I mean, we don't know. I just know, like, just as far as games in general, like to me, that game had stuff in it that I hadn't seen yet in a game, and that's what I'm still. That's what I'm still waiting for with this generation, as far as the series consoles and PS5 and this like current generation, right? Is like I want to see the better AI, of course the graphics. Everybody always points to the graphics as the first thing you see, but I'm always talking about like like the AI, and the game
Yes.
systems,
Yeah.
and how you interact. And this is why I was pretty
That-
excited with was it Sifu, because it had systems in there that I hadn't seen before. I'm like, yo, I like to see innovation,
Yeah.
and so
And this is something which I've been catching on to, because the other day, I mean, I talked about this before. When you look at like, for example, the PlayStation, when Sony sat down with Microsoft to do the Microsoft Azure thing, they talked about the AI and they talked about the Azure. And now you see when the other day we dissected the God Howard interview, which was I think it was
why y'all call this man God Howard? I need to know. Why do y'all call him God Howard?
That's Joanna.
Oh,
He's-
he's like, God Howard.
He's like,
He owns
No,
that.
that's just a nickname. That's just
That
a
is the
nickname
nickname.
that they
I'm
put
like,
around
hold
him.
on.
Yeah.
he got the
But yeah.
creation engine and everything. He's the
And-
creator.
Here's a reason, right? Todd Howard his presence commands such
Yes.
attention when he goes on, and I've seen people present, but the way he presents Fallout,
Yeah.
Skyrim, it's
Mhm.
like amazing. Like he sells you on the vision of a game, and you're like, I need to play this. He in your mind, you can see when he talks about Starfield, and you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to be on a ship. I can't wait to
Dude, I
explore.
just-
Not many
Starfield,
people can sell you a vision.
I can't wait for
Yes.
Starfield. It's like
Yes,
I just can't wait. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and like I was saying though, Todd Howard talked about it in an interview about the AI, and now all of a sudden when Bobby Kotick sells Activision Blizzard in an interview, he one other person mentions the AI thing going on. So yeah,
AI is
it's,
that to me.
I
That's
mean-
the meat and potatoes of the
Yep.
game. It's AI because it can determine, whether an enemy's gonna flank you in Halo, and then a grunt's gonna throw a grenade and then hide, and like it just
Yeah.
determines all of that, the engagement and how you resonate with the world.
What I found, what
You
I
know,
see though, is that Microsoft, I think, is not has. I mean, it's starting to let the AI out, which is going to be really interesting when we see more into depth into that. Like with the games that are going to come out using Microsoft's AI tech and everything. That's going to be pretty cool. I mean, it's going to be wild when I see that.
I think Delilah makes it, yes,
Yeah.
do I want a good looking game? Sure. But I feel one of the things, the games that are really impactful are the ones that are, the environments are interactive. You have physics that's great. You have AI
Right.
that does things. And I think that's where I want games to go. I think we've hit that point games are still gonna find ways to make them look nice. But I think, yes, do I want a game that looks with all the sure. I'm not gonna lie here. Yes, I'll take those. But when I look at some of the games that I play, I love the fact that I'm able to, oh wow, I can break this through the environment. I can do this, all that. And again, Sifu's a great example. flipping over a table, then grabbing quickly, and then being able to do all these things that only I've seen in a movie. I think that's more immersive to me and next level, next gen, than just saying, oh, cool, let me put a coat of paint, let me put ray tracing and everything. But then I'm doing the same thing over, pushing a box, hitting the X button. And this, I'm talking about games as a general in the sense.
Mhm.
So, yeah, definitely excited. But Son of Cypher, are you? Do you want to be called the Father of Dragons? And do you want to play Scalebound?
Father of
This is not going to be a popular take, and I apologize,
Because you're a
Delilah.
coward.
I,
We know already.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings. So
I
trust
was-
me.
First of all, first you start with Code Veronica. Now you're gonna slam dunk on Scalebound. You are something.
No. I just I looked at it, and it looked like a lot of fun. The mechanics and the idea that they were touting looked really good. I don't know.
Ryan, if the dragons were cars, would you play it?
Yes.
Exactly. There you go. He's biased.
Thank you for making these easy
That's
questions.
funny.
No, I don't know. I think I definitely would have played it, but there were some things where I was just like, okay, like the headphones.
The
The
headphones, choppy
I don't-
frame rate, the voice acting. I know.
Yeah, like
But
it
all that
was,
stuff could have been cleaned up. That's how I look at
it
those
could.
things.
Yes, it could. And you look at their pedigree previously, and they probably would have.
Mhm.
It felt like it was very much early concept, especially with what we know now, especially with the fact that this thing probably was not anywhere near a full content release, Like this thing was very much pieced together to just make a vertical slice to show us, hey, this is a game. Maybe.
Mm.
But no, to answer Louis' question earlier, we're like, okay, well, why are they coming now? Like, why is this a big thing? I definitely think a lot of it does come to NDAs, kind of like what Mr. Dark just mentioned. But at the same time, you got to think about all the stuff that's going on right now in the Xbox ecosystem. You've got Game Pass blowing up. You've got acquisitions going left and right. You've got a game,
It's everywhere.
you've got a publisher that gets picked up. You've got Bethesda that got picked up. If you're someone that's in a financial issue right now in game dev and you see someone's throwing money left and right for opportunity to make games, you're seeing that and you're thinking, I bet you I could get a piece of that pie. I need to call Uncle Phil and I need to say, hey, Uncle Phil, you got room on team? Can we get on there? Can we make that game? So I think it would be a little bit too coincidental if it didn't have to do with what we've seen recently, right? The spending spree, like 70 million, close to 70, or sorry, 70 billion, close to 70 billion. You see someone drop money like that, and if you're in that situation and maybe your company is struggling, you're thinking about a way you could maybe get tied in with them.
Well, I got one caveat for you though. Well, what's wrong
Sure.
with it?
What's that?
Well, what's wrong with that? If what I don't see.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
you
I'm not
looking at it,
saying.
it's like
Get him.
no, no.
I'm not.
This is not. I'm not gonna do that. But
No,
it's
you're
like
good. You're good.
I don't see it as like a. I mean, I know you're seeing it as like opportunity, being opportunistic.
Yes.
I get
Yes.
that, but it's like nothing's wrong with that. I don't see
But
anybody who has a studio that's functioning and have mouths to feed. They all look for every opportunity they can in order to feed their studio.
yes.
So I don't
Yes.
see them. I don't see a problem with them saying, "Oh, Phil, we over here, we want to do this game." Blah, blah, blah.
No.
Oh, but I don't
No.
see an issue with that,
And
especially if they know they have the pedigree and then they can make a great game. So
so to answer that, I don't think it's a bad thing. However, I think with the previous relationship and the situation that went down with them beforehand and how things shook out with Scalebound, I think that's where the problem lies, right? Is
So,
there
so silent.
what's that?
I don't, the way I see this is, Scalebound was greenlit during the beginning kind of the Xbox One, right? Different change of guard.
Yes.
But what I want to,
100%.
and what I want to, I think Jedi Peter brought a good comment in the chat as well. It takes a lot as a person, as a professional, to kind of say, hey, I messed up, but hey, I still want to go and work with you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they did come out and say, hey, this is what happened. and they accepted the facts, and they understand that they burned the bridge, whatever happened, right? We don't really know everything else. Forget the PR, whatever.
Right.
But as a person who has messed up in jobs and everything, it takes a bigger person to say, hey, and I respect someone that rather says, hey, I understand I've done this, but I want to work with you. I want to show you that, that was in the past, and let's talk, let's meet. Let me show you what I can do. And then, you know what? However you want to trust me, I'm going to win your trust. And I think it takes a lot from either the perspective. And at the end of the day, it's business. And if you want to proliferate a market like Japan, which we want more developers to come, you have to be able to remember, on the Xbox One, we didn't get a lot of the support that we used to get in 360 when it came to a lot of the games that we made, like Japanese. So we forgive and forget, because at the end of the day, we want one thing, right? We want to bring games to the platform, have people play. So I think it goes beyond that. But I do understand as us, right, as gamers, Delilah put so much into that video, everything. We're like, hey, forget you.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
at the end of the day, Platinum can make games. We've seen it.
yes, yeah, 100%. Again, going back to their pedigree, it's not that they can't do it. It's like you guys were saying with the engine. That was a new experience for them. That was something they were not familiar with. They were like a fish out of water. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they're getting that communication going. I'm just saying it makes sense that if in the current situation and stuff, it makes a lot of sense that if you see someone buying like that, you're gonna put your name out there, right? Like you said, everyone has people that have mouths to feed, and they want to make sure that everyone's going home and able to cover their people, cover their family.
Yeah, and then like I mentioned before, it's Kimya's baby. Like he got an affinity towards the IP. That's like if I drew this amazing piece of art, but I let someone else like hold on to it, they gonna ever give it back to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it's like.
And honestly, it's like if this conversation had come up between him, trying to approach Microsoft again like earlier on, I don't think it would have ever happened previously. But again, with Phil being in the position he's in, being the guy he is, I'd say it's probably the best chance it would ever have to happen at this point.
Yes, it's almost feel like a community. He's like rallying the community almost. That's what it feels like to me.
And
guess what? We're on here talking about it, right?
And look at the fact that the president left, right?
Yes.
And now you have a new vision. So think of it. Okay, now we have a vision. We're not gonna go and chew, go out and get more than we can chew, because when you look at it, right, Platinum is a small developer. Most of the games they've made are games that they were with a publisher, and they don't own some of those IPs. So in a sense, like if I was an indie developer, and say my games didn't make me enough to get some of my independence, I have to be able to take a lot of projects. And unfortunately, I took a project that I couldn't at the time.
Yes.
And I feel that if this were to happen and he puts his heart and soul, number one, we get Scalebound. Number two, we get the game that we always envisioned and thought there. Number three, for Platinum to make that money and then say, hey, we have enough to go out and make more games that you like and start that vision that they said that they wanted to self-publish. It's a win-win for everyone at the end of the day.
So just to finish off real quick on that, but yeah, I think honestly, it goes back to what you were saying, Mr. Dark, about the fact that like it takes a better man to accept these situations, approach it and say, hey, we messed up, whatever. I would say, Phil was put in a rough situation too, of basically having to come out and be like, hey, this is being canceled. Sorry, this game's not coming out. And that's a hard one, right? Because he didn't make those agreements. He didn't make those terms and stuff when the game was first made. Like when it was first started, that was a different leadership. It wasn't the same. And so for him to come out and have to take the buck on that one and be like, hey, I'll own it. Sorry, we're canceling this. My apologies. I mean, Phil is very much someone that you can tell, like he's a gamer. First and foremost, he is a gamer. He wants to be playing Scalebound just as much as all you guys want to play Scalebound. So if he can make it work, again, I think it goes back to if there were ever a good time for this to happen, it would be under Phil's watch. But then the only other thing I'm going to say is if it happens, I flowed this into the chat, and I think that we need to see maybe a collaboration and bring in like Neversoft to do like the mechanics and the motion and stuff, and get Actibliz involved in the process as well. Maybe bolster up the team, right? I don't know. For me, Platinum does their own thing, but I would really love to see maybe a bigger team join.
I think
I
Platinum has.
disagree. Yeah, I was gonna say I think they have enough, and also I look at it like this. Like, think about it for a second. Like, what they have learned technology wise in the amount of time since Scalebound and what they've released, right? With Astro Chain, we already talked about that. And with the Automata, we talked about that too. It's like they were able to release those games, and those games aren't short. They're not like they're, oh, I'm playing 8 hours and then I'm done. To me, they have enough to be able to create. I don't know. I mean, I get what you're going. You say you wanted to partner with somebody else, I guess, for what? Better graphic fidelity? I mean, I don't know.
Vanquish has ridiculous monsters, robots.
Yeah.
They make boss fights.
Oh, Lord.
I just think when you're funded correctly and you work with a publisher that believes and lets you give you a creative freedom, we've seen what they can do. When Square said, "Hey, go make Nier," you saw what they did. When Nintendo said, "Hey, give us Astral Chain," they gave it to us. Even that Transformer game is good. Bayonetta, come on, we can't forget about my girl Bayonetta, and we got 3 coming. And if you look at Bayonetta, there are hints of what most likely he wants to do with Scalebound, because she has a dragon. She has all these crazy stuff in part 2.
Right.
So, Sourbow, I know you've been sleeping, but what's up, buddy?
No, I've been here. I've been listening.
Just joking. What's up? What are your thoughts on Scalebound? You want him in Sea of Thieves?
No.
He wants some Star Citizen.
Well, funny thing, real quick.
Never comes out.
When Delilah was telling her story about how she made the video about Scalebound, it actually reminded me real quick about my first video I made. Was about a video I discovered some little clips and videos about the game Arc Rider, the one they showed on the Games Award.
The Game Awards, yeah.
That was my first video on my channel. It's in Spanish though. And that was way back in last June, I think it was. And as soon as I saw that and I saw nobody else had videos about that game, I was like, oh, I got to hurry up and make content on this. And that kind of gave me the push to actually start the channel and start actually doing content on it. So, yeah. But anyway, about Scalebound, I definitely think they should bring it back. It's anywhere where you have either space or fantasies with dragons, you have me there. I love those. Those are my two of my favorite things to do, and you can mix them in any type of genre, like platformers or whatever, and I will play it. So I definitely Sorry, go ahead. Oh
no, I just have it was a sidebar comment. Go ahead. So I want to interrupt.
So yeah, definitely I would like the game to be made. I think the panel kind of explained definitely pretty well why Platinum wants the game. That's their baby. They want also the money. They want to feed their devs, but
their children.
Yeah, their children. But also add into that on the Microsoft side. I mean, you have I believe Kamiya. He's Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they want to go in the Japanese market, and the game also is appealing to the Japanese market. So why not do it? I think they're in a position right now where Microsoft actually wants to invest in gaming, in the gaming division. I think they can do it. I don't think that's something that will actually really hurt their pockets that much. And Kamiya wants a second chance. I think they should give him a second chance. And from there, if he does a pretty good job, maybe that can build on and he can make other games for you. Maybe he's interested in other IPs that you have, like maybe a Lost Odyssey. I don't know. Just throwing it there. But, I think...
Blue Dragon.
Blue Dragon, exactly. I don't think there's much that the Xbox division or Microsoft as a whole will lose on this. They take this project on. I think it's more to lose on on Kamiya side and on Platinum side, because if they mess this up, they know that Microsoft will probably never work with them again, and probably other company will look at them like, hey, you couldn't get the job done.
Yeah.
I think you bring up a good point, Sarbo, because you think about it, right? Everyone's saying, well, why are they being so unprofessional? Why isn't Sony coming out and talking to them with Nintendo? I mean, they're already working with Nintendo, so you're right. It can be something where, hey, Microsoft right now, they feel that that's the best partner at the moment. And if they mess up their relationship, and again, then maybe Sony doesn't even want to do work with them because, again, it's just, even though gaming feels like it's huge, it's still a niche community,
Yep.
Yes.
I think the only reason, I mean, well, I don't want to say only reason, it's probably other reasons, but I think also is the fact that Microsoft owns the IP. And also, when I think about Scalebound, it's like that game when it was coming to, when they were showing it and doing all this, Game Pass wasn't a thing. Like, so Game Pass allow them to take more risks. It allow developers to take more risks. They don't have to worry about, oh, I need to sell like 100,000 copies in order to make my return, right? It's all about engagement and stuff. So I think that could play into could be a factor if they do decide to do this. Now, what I was going to say when Cyber was speaking, though, was to Silent Cypher. Was it more so just the project management concerns there? That's why you said they need to partner with somebody just to make sure that this project makes it, because of the whole rumor mill, how you said.
I think it's a couple things for me, but honestly, I look at it, right. We still haven't seen Bayonetta 3 come out, right? There's no locked date at this point. So I think if they're going to do something like this, it's going to be a long ways down the road, or they're going to have to bolster the team, right? Like they'd have to bring in more people, or it's going to be years down the road potentially. So that's all I was saying, is just I think with the irons they have in the fire, as it were, already, I would be curious if splitting up the team to make multiple games would be a good idea, or if they should bring more people in.
Something I'm curious about too is how far was the game in? How far was it?
Right.
And the other
Right.
thing is, it was done on Unreal Engine 4. Well, that was that's the engine they were working on. Well, you have now Unreal Engine 5, and supposedly it's pretty easy to, like upgrade. So I'm wondering how much can the game evolve just by, switching to the new engine and everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Cool. So I think we gave our great pitch to get Scalebound. So I can see E3. All of a sudden, you hear a dragon and Khaleesi comes out.
E3.
And there
And
it
it's
is,
coming
Scalebound.
out this fall.
There it is.
Yeah. I'm actually, I'm actually more excited.
Crazy.
I'm actually more
And
excited
here's the
to
catch.
watch that YouTube Delilah breakdown video.
I'm actually putting that in the archive. So just for
Xbox,
you.
the console
For
of
the private
dragons, right
links,
there. There's the marketing. Aaron Greenberg, make it happen.
Ooh.
Xbox, the console of dragons. No. Cool. So now that we move on from Scalebound, which is still a game that people want, this week we also saw that Ninja Theory continues to hire more talent, and it kind of started people with the whole conversation on Twitter and everywhere. Well, is this game really close to being done? And one of the things that I liked about the interview that I want to kind of read that was pretty interesting from this interview with, I think the gentleman's name is, and let me just say because I'm terrible at making names. His name is Tamin Antinodas. Antino. I'm saying it in Spanish, so I'm pretty sure it's bad, but I'm trying my best. But one of the things that I found interesting is that they've worked before with different players. They gave us Heavenly Sword, and that was a great game on the PS3. You got Enslaved, which is another game that unfortunately, I think Bandai Namco owns. And apparently they had a game called Moon Warrior, and it was about a Shaolin monk, kind of like Metal Gear, but with Kung Fu. And it supposedly it was like based on Once Upon a Time in China, and he pitched it. And when I guess the change of guard at Sony came, and Sony purchased the studio that was he was part of, it got canned. So let's fast forward, right? Senua's Hellblade. I remember seeing this game. and playing. I literally had 3 days to play this game, even though I didn't know how long it was because I was going to on family vacation. And Hellblade was such an experience that I own it on every. I even own it on an Oculus Rift, and
Well,
it's such
how
an
is it?
amazing story.
How is it in Rift?
If you thought it was crazy with headphones, it's crazy in
man.
VR.
Okay.
Imagine being more immersed. Put it this way: it's one of those games that even though I can play with headphones, I'm like VR, okay. But
Yeah.
and it was such a powerful story, and it was crazy that when you listen to how they made this game, 20 devs, and when you even look at this game, you can see that unfortunately, like any dev, right, you have to make certain things, certain sacrifices. So the combat wasn't as in depth, right, because they wanted to make sure they gave you kind of that experience of what it feels like to kind of suffer from psychosis or some type of mental illness, right? And I don't know if what I want to know, Delilah, what was your reaction when you saw at the Game Awards that trailer of Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga? Like, I want to know your reaction. Did you were you eating like chips and you like dropped them? Like, I was at the awards and I was just like, I dropped my phone.
I was too busy like looking at it like, is this a CG? Is this gameplay? Is this CG? I'm just going back and forth in my brain because my brain can compute the fact that this is actually gameplay. Because I absolutely love the first game, and it's crazy. I don't play horror games, so even when I played it, I had to turn the audio. Like I would have one cup off and one cup on my ear because it was freak me out every time the voices would, But I absolutely enjoyed the game. The combat could have been a little bit better, but to me, it was all about the atmosphere and the like the themes that was going for in that game. And so I'm excited to see what they turn this into. We already know it's going to be bigger in scale. And so seeing it for the first time at the Game Awards, I mean, we didn't know where they were going to show, right? We knew they were going to show something, but we didn't know where they're going to show. And so seeing that, it just confirmed for me, it's like, yo, I'm already hyped for this game. And so now that I see it and like you kind of get an idea of what they're trying to do as for a scale, it's like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. You know they know how to make great games. Like just, as far as things that they've released in the past.
Have you seen any of the behind the scenes videos?
What do you mean? But like when they show how they yes. Well, as far as them like scanning like the actual assets that's going to be in the game, because it apparently like improves the development process and have to 3D model everything. Because that's what a lot of the costs come from when you're making these AAA titles is getting modelers to rig and create the assets, that the thousands upon thousands of assets that goes into these games.
Yeah.
But because they're using the this engine and they're able to get assets, I forget the name from it's on the tip of my tongue. I guess with a Q, I can't think of it right now.
For what? An engine?
No, the library that they get in using the environmental assets and also scaling.
QLock?
No.
No.
But anyway, I'll think of it. I'll find it after I say what I'm going to say. But it's like just knowing that they're scanning in these actual assets and pieces into the games to kind of save development costs and time, and also doing all their in-house capturing is phenomenal. I mean, I hope, because now we've seen it how like it's been a few years now, right? We've seen it like at Game Awards twice. We've seen it when they announced the console. So it's like, when are you coming out? Where's the date at? Where's that date?
Well, real quick, your complaint was combat. Did you see the video about
yes, the training?
training
I'm on it. Come on.
That got me
Now,
excited.
they're doing the training for the combat. Yes. That's what I was really disappointed with the video. That's the only thing that was disappointing me with the video that they released in the Game Awards, is the fact that they didn't show the combat, because we saw the training video before that came out. I was like, oh, please show some of the new combat, because it's coming. They're adding to the combat. So it's like,
I think it goes with his comments today where he said that it's kind of a pun where he says that Hellblade 2 will make Hellblade 1 look like an indie game because it was an indie game.
Wow. It was an indie game, but it looks phenomenal, right? It had the graphic fidelity on it was fantastic. So it's like it had that AAA kind of feel to it, even though it was done, like you said, by a smaller team of like 20 people. And so just with all the tech that's going to this, it's insane. Like I can't wait.
they can do combat because they did DMC, which is an underrated and one of
Right,
my favorite
exactly.
Devil May
Yes,
Cry. But
exactly.
my thing with Hellblade that kind of stuck with me, and I'm gonna go to Sour Blow, is they said, and I think you said this also today, Delilah, is that they want to give us an experience. You know, an experience. Boxenberger, if you haven't seen it, he has a great video, kind of like how you broke down Scalebound, where he broke down the Giant, and apparently they worked with a third-party company who helped them render that into the engine with machine learning. Really good. I'm not going to spoil it. I would definitely shout out to Boxenberger. And
Yes.
I think this is what I want. I want an experience that's going to tell me, is this an actual video game? Like, I want to have that
Right.
moment.
Oh man,
Yes.
And I
I'm
think
so
that
excited
video
for it.
shows me that. And Salblo, what do you think about this whole thing? He said, "Hey, I want to make this video." What do you think? What are your thoughts on Hellblade 2? Do you think this game is close, or you think it's far away?
I don't think it's super far away, but I think probably 2023, I would say, towards the end maybe. And as when I watched the trailer, as someone that if you haven't played the first Hellblade and you watch the trailer, you might not think that it's actual gameplay unless they have told you, it is gameplay. And I myself that even have played the first one, the only moment that I noticed that it was actually like gameplay was when she was running, because I could tell a little bit, the way she
Right.
was running. But other than that, it was amazing, like the transition, how everything was done. Like you couldn't tell the difference, and that was I'm
Yeah.
super
Just
hyped for
imagine.
what they would do.
Just imagine, because if you've played like The Last of Us and how they do the animation transitions when with all of that, just imagine that as a layer on top of on Hellblade, like between, because the part I keep thinking about is a transition of when Senua's running and then she grabs the spear. Like that's the only time I was able to really tell that,
Yes.
okay, this is actual gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because
Because
it's
you can see her kind of
it's
move, the
that
animation.
little
Yeah.
small
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
jerk that lets you, oh
Mhm.
dang, this is real time.
Yeah.
Um, I know they're gonna. The thing is, like, I have full confidence in the fact that they're gonna be able to clean all of that up, and when this thing drops, it's because
Yeah.
they can tell a story. So I'm
Their
not worried
attention
about
to
that.
detail too is amazing.
hmm
It's an amazing game, like overall, and I'm just as a fan of it. I can't, I'm waiting till I get the release date so I can go and jump back into the game, since they added ray tracing and everything. I
Yes.
want to experience again.
Yeah.
I guess Crazy Lou, Hellblade 2. I think we look at The Last of Us, right? And I think I talked before. I've
Mhm.
never had a game, and I think this is what Hellblade 2 feels with part 2 of Last of Us. Love it or hate it, I love it. I think it's a masterpiece. I never felt a game that made me feel the weight of taking someone else's life. Not even that, but the way I interacted with The Last of Us, I felt the rage inside Ellie. And this is what I hope Hellblade 2 is trying to achieve. You feeling Senua's, sacrifice, no pun intended, or pain from the original. What are your thoughts on all this about Hellblade? Are you excited? When do you think it might come out? 2023, 24, 25?
You are gonna kill me, but I have not played Hellblade yet.
Yeah, get out of here.
I told
Sour
you.
blow, get this man
Oh
out.
my
He's talking about this
God.
Chuck Norris game, and then he
Yes.
he talks
Hey,
about,
hey,
nobody wants a Chuck Norris
hey,
game.
yes.
Nobody
And
wants a
it's
guy
short
in,
too. It's
in
not like it's a long
Levi's,
game.
Everyone
Levi's,
wants it. No,
Hey.
you're wrong. You're wrong.
You're
who's
wrong.
like 4 feet tall, and no, I
Wait,
want
wait.
to.
Oh, wait.
How
Anyway,
dare
back
you,
to Hellblade. Back to Hellblade.
I
Back
pushed
to
him
Hellblade.
I
Back to
pushed him to
Hellblade.
play a
Okay.
Plague Tale, and you saw what happened, crazy. So you gotta play Hellblade.
Yeah, I know. And guess what happened though? Remember, I ordered my missus bought me the headphones. They're right over there, just for me to play
Okay. Oh
Hellblade
yeah,
because
you
mine
did
were
tell me
broken.
that. I'll buy that
Yeah.
excuse. Okay.
So yeah, it's right there, and I'm not kidding you because it's one of those games I'm gonna play because I mean, like when you told me to play a Plague's Tale, oh, that's dude, I love that game. No, I mean,
Yes.
oh man, I can't
I'm
wait
sorry, and
for
that game's getting a sequel, so I'm so excited.
yes,
As
Yes.
they
oh
won.
man,
Woo!
Oh,
yes,
right? Okay,
yes.
Osobo. Shout out to Osobo.
But man, I can't wait to play it. But yeah, I'm gonna play Hellblade because I always thought like it was like a puzzle game, but when I saw Parent Pop playing on his Twitch because he was playing it, I was like, hey, this looks fun. And he told me you need to hear the sounds. You need to get good headphones to hear the sounds. I was like, okay. So yeah, I have it right there because since the game has got like that message like stuff,
Dude.
stuff like that. And since I just bought a webcam just to do Twitch, so yeah, I wanna do that on Twitch and play it so people can see me, and I can't wait to play it. And am I excited for it? Yes, man. I mean, like I said, I am excited for any game that comes out because I love to play video games. Like I said, I want Scalebound back. I want that game back. And yeah, definitely, I am excited for that Hellblade 2. And what year could it come out? I think, like what Sourblade said, I mean, it's going to be 23, close to 24. It's going to be the date that it comes out. I think the 24 is going to be the most of it because they've been working on it for a while. It's been a while since they were working on it. So yeah, I think that'll be it.
I have a
I'm
quick
excited,
question
man. What's
for Joanna, real quick. What
Sure.
game do you think will come first, Project Mara or Hellblade 2?
Uh-oh.
I think they said Project Mara was supposed to come first. I
Oh,
think
really? They said
at
it?
one point,
Okay,
Ninja Theory, because it's a smaller project, and that's another
Yes.
game we can kind of get into that looks.
Yeah.
Mind you, I love horror games. I feel like that game, I'm gonna have
It-
to have the lights on. Probably have my kids next to me. My little, my son's probably Paw Patrol thing next to me because it's just the level of detail that they do and imagine in a horror game is just.
Yes.
Yeah, I
But
got my own level of
He just-
theories when it comes to Project Mara.
He just confirmed it, Sourblade. Just confirmed it.
Oh my goodness.
It's coming out.
I didn't
Come on.
I didn't confirm anything. So to anyone who's watching still, I have not confirmed. I do not work with Ninja Theory, or am I an insider in any way? So
The,
the
the
Chuck
amount
Norris game will come out.
the amount of
Well-
time he blinked his eyes, that's the month
Yes.
it's coming out.
Yeah, it does.
It was Morse code.
It does Morse code. He blinks a lot.
Oh.
It's like yes.
So ain't no Morse
man.
code, nothing here. Son of Cypher, what's up? Hellblade.
So, Hellblade, I'm guessing next summer, if not Christmas, 2023. Personally, it definitely looks like they're making progress, but I just get a sneaking suspicion, especially with what they were saying about trying to get everyone in for like motion capture and stuff like that. I have a feeling we're a little ways out. The pandemic's definitely caused some issues, it seems like, for some of the dev teams.
Yes.
As far as Project Mara, though, I'm guessing between summer and Christmas of this year, though.
You must
Okay.
have some inside information that we don't have.
October.
That's what I was about to say.
October will be.
I wasn't even.
Silent Cypher has a credit in Hellblade we never saw.
I haven't seen a single trailer.
I wasn't going to reference anything, but what was it? A few weeks ago, we ended up seeing some sort of dump on it saying that it was potentially like coming out earlier this year.
Mm.
But I mean, who knows where it came from? But when I started seeing some stuff pop up online again, I was like, well, maybe. We'll see.
Got a quick
see.
question. So, Silent Cypher, are you a glass half empty kind of person?
It depends. I
Oh, I was just curious.
it depends on the day.
Got it. Okay.
No, I think
Checking.
the approach I usually try and take is cautiously pessimistic.
Cautiously
No,
pessimistic.
I'm usually a little bit pessimistic, but I feel like if I underestimate or if I assume it's not going to be as good a situation, you can only go up from there.
Right. Okay. I'm just curious.
This is the roasting of the intervention.
I'm
No,
a
but,
positive,
but
I'm a
I do wanna-
positive guy.
I do want to
in most
celebrate.
facets.
I want to celebrate that that 75% do not want to see a Chuck Norris game. So that is a celebration of my own.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
The people have spoken. Nobody wants to see Chuck Norris.
I do.
But
I want to check.
I disagree.
Wow.
get out of here. Get out
Sorry.
of here. Get out of here with that Chuck
No,
Norris.
man. Come on.
But anyway,
now who's the negative
I
one?
want to play a Bruce Lee game with Chuck Norris as a boss, and that's about it.
Yes, Yes.
As far as it goes.
Yeah,
But
I'll
Bruce
take
Lee,
that.
I'm friends with Bruce Lee.
Or is,
Oh,
Do that too.
or is a collector thing, a little bobblehead. And
Oh,
that's
yeah,
it.
maybe.
There you go.
Can you
Yeah, that
imagine?
works.
Can you imagine Mortal Kombat putting Chuck Norris in there? Oh man, I'll buy that
That would
DLC
be
card.
great.
Hell yeah!
Oh.
Oh man!
That would be so
You'll be the only person that buys it. They'll look at
Oh,
the numbers and
what?
be
He
like,
got
"Crazy
some, he
Lou."
got some dope movies, though. He
buy
got
it.
some dope
I'll buy
movies.
it.
Yeah. Hey, Chuck Norris. You know what? He's the boogeyman's afraid of Chuck Norris.
Yep.
That's what I heard.
Come on,
Yeah,
Walker
yeah.
Texas Ranger. Is
Oh
So
man, I
lit.
watched that a lot.
quick story. I have met Chuck Norris in real life.
Oh,
So
nice.
Really?
back in 2005, excuse me, when I was actually deployed and I was coming back home, we were at a port in Iraq where usually anyone who goes to this base is usually leaving. He came to the church because it was the Stars and Stripes celebrities, blah blah blah, and the whole joke with the Chuck Norris shows going around. And one of the Marines that I was with, literally messing around with him, is, "Hey, can you choke me out?" So him and Chuck Norris started sparring, and Chuck Norris choked him out. Now, mind you, Chuck Norris is like
Whoa.
yay high.
Yep.
This Marine is like 6'5", 200 and about 230 pounds, right?
Mhm,
Wow.
mhm.
So choked him out. I was like, man, you don't mess with Chuck Norris. And he choked him out in church. So praise Chuck Norris.
Okay, and you don't want a Chuck Norris video game. He chucked out a Marine.
Lou,
Man,
Lou,
come on.
you know what?
Come
I was
on.
so listen. I was doing an exercise today about active listening, and you did not do any type of active listening. This wasn't me saying that I want a Chuck Norris game. This was just giving you a story, and that's it. That's all we need. We don't want a game.
No, I'm pretty sure you just said you want a Chuck Norris game.
I
That's
did
an
not.
awesome experience.
No,
That's why I
he
have
actually-
I have seafood.
He actually said that there's a Chuck
Oh.
Norris exclusive game coming.
Yes. That's
Well, maybe Seafood will release a Chuck
You-
Norris DLC and you play as Chuck Norris.
Oh, yeah.
You guys enjoy trying to get me in trouble. Like I'm gonna all of a sudden tomorrow, I'm gonna get a ping on Teams with like, where are you getting this from? You guys are gonna get me fired or something.
But how will you get in
But,
trouble if it's not true? Oh,
No, because you guys are trying to corner me and thinking that I'm this insider. Like, nah, I'm
Yeah,
not.
don't
I'm
do
not.
that. Don't ever
No,
do
no,
that.
no.
Come on.
No.
Chat. We're
I'll
just
tell you
playing
this.
around. We're just
I'll
playing
tell you
around,
this.
chat.
You can definitely join our Windows Insider program and our Xbox Insider things and get some cool flighting stuff. That's what you can do. So you can definitely try some of the cool features.
Nice.
But yeah, so this gets us to our final topic, and one
Yes.
that's been kind of in the news, right? And this topic kind of coincides with everything that's been going on, right? A little bit of Activision, a little bit of Game Pass, and we heard today, right? And I'm going to get this because I always like to make sure that I quote, and I had it here. And basically, what happened is today, to be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard titles available on PlayStation through the term of any existing agreement with Activision. And we have committed to Sony that we will also make them available on PlayStation beyond the existing agreement into the future so that Sony fans can continue to enjoy the games that they love. We are also interested in taking similar steps to support Nintendo's successful platform. We believe this is the right thing for the industry, for gamers, and our business. So my question to the panel is, I also found this article that kind of goes with this overall, with the overall thing of, what does this mean for just Microsoft and gaming and everything? Activision came out with their financial records, and apparently they've made a good amount of money at $5.1 billion from microtransactions, so most likely from King, everything else that they have, Call of Duty, everything, right? So my thing is, with this news coming out, what are your thoughts? And then I'm going to throw it here over to Crazy Lou on the messaging, and how do you feel about the fact that Destiny is going to be multi-plat, Call of Duty multi-plat? What are your thoughts on this overall?
I mean, I called it. Remember the other day we were talking about it? I said, hey, this could actually happen because, I mean, once they sit down, they open everything up, they read about it. Because it's the truth, though. Once they sit down and look at things, they're like, hey, this, that, and not only that, it's actually a good move. What Microsoft is doing with leaving Call of Duty for multi-platforms, for leaving all the users happy, which is good. It's not bad. What I think about this, though, what can happen is that what I'm seeing, it's like I've said this a long time ago. When 2019 started, when PlayStation sat down, did this agreement with these guys, I'm seeing like their relationship is getting better. I mean, their business negotiations and everything are getting better, the relationship are getting better, and it's expanding. for this stuff to happen. Like for example, Destiny to be multiplat, pretty awesome, man. I mean, it's cool, and I understand what these guys are trying to do. I mean, they're trying to make these games available for everybody where they can grab it, and yeah, I found it amazing. I was really happy that Microsoft did actually approach and made the good decision that said, "Hey, let's leave this Call of Duty over here for guys to play, for guys to grab it, all this stuff, and yeah, let's just let them play their game and enjoy it, and let them enjoy their thing." And also, I'm happy that when Sony bought Bungie, that they actually let Bungie say, "Okay, let me put my game, my Destiny game everywhere. You guys can do this, do that, but Destiny has to go everywhere, and all my games have to work any platform I want to," which is a pretty good thing. And yeah, it's awesome that these guys are doing this and trying to end that freaking console war that keeps on going. Like, yeah, I have this, I have that, and I have this, and all that stuff. Okay, you can have your own good thing. It's good, but the whole console war thing. I mean, for me, I just want it to end because seriously, if these guys like don't work together to make a better future for us gamers, and they keep this console wars, we're just gonna get to nowhere. And so I'm happy that actually after I read what you sent today, and I know what they're planning to do, they're trying to reach more people. I mean, on the article, Microsoft said there's 2 billion gamers right now around the world, right? 2 billion. By 2030, they want to reach 4.5 billion. How are they gonna do that? I mean, they got to do it like that. I mean, it's a good way for them to all of them sit down, talk, get together, and let's push and get these games to players so they can enjoy and have fun. So yeah, I'm really happy with this news. I mean, it's incredible, and I've read it a couple times, and each time I read, it, I'm like with my mouth open. I'm like, whoa, this is happening. Like this is actually happening right now. It's awesome, man. Really, I'm excited for it, and I just can't wait for it to continue. And that gamers actually do get games everywhere. I mean, just like Netflix, which Netflix I say, I mean, I can watch Netflix everywhere, in the bathroom, in the shower, anywhere. I want to play games in the shower, in the bathroom, everywhere too. I mean, yeah,
I want to understand. I'm not even gonna follow that question, but you
yeah.
watching movies in the shower, I don't understand how you do that. But so
Hey,
it-
you know,
let-
hey, no. This is something though. There's showers that got a TV in them. No joke. Never seen
Cool.
those showers? Yeah,
no,
there's
I don't
showers
have
that
one of those. I'm not that fancy.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have one either, but I have seen them though. I want one, I want to.
Of course you do. I mean, you do 1,000 promos in the shower. You're the only person.
Nah, I quit doing that because people don't like it anymore, so I quit doing that.
But let me throw it to Silent Cypher. So, Silent Cypher, do you think that we've gotten to a point where games as a service, right? We all know that a lot of games that are online thrive on a healthy community, right? Communities that help, look at Dead by Daylight's a good example, right? That game has existed because it went crossplay and it has a healthy community. So do you think that we've reached a point where you look at Sony, you look at Xbox, and games as a service is much more than just keeping it exclusive? If you want these games to succeed, you need to make them more accessible to people. And also, not like they've always said, right? Not take away communities that already existed, because is the lifeblood of these games. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Is Phil has made the comment multiple times that he wants to get more people involved. Like you were just mentioning, the 2 billion or whatever gamers. It makes more sense financially alone, but also just if that's what your goal is, to try and get that many people involved, the more available outlets you have for someone to get access to that game makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So if people can jump on their mobile phones, if they can jump on their browser and stuff like that through Game Pass, if it's on other systems, whatever, that's going to hit that saturation, right? Like that's going to get closer to the saturation than if you keep it in a walled garden. It's interesting though, because I'm still kind of wondering if there's going to be a little bit more to it. Because it still feels like there is the possibility of, okay, the stuff that's existing right now is going to remain, like your Warzone, your existing properties and stuff, the legacy titles. And if we're going to actually see stuff that does stay, just like in the Game Pass ecosystem. Not even the Xbox, because Game Pass is kind of now the ecosystem. But I'm just kind of, I don't know.
I mean,
When I read it,
let me ask
sorry,
this,
go ahead.
right? And then this is what I've
Yeah.
been thinking when I've been, we have Game Pass, right?
Yep.
And the gist of everything is that, how does Game Pass make money? That's been always the conversation. People always want
dear
to,
Lord.
they want the
Yeah.
books, right? They always want
Yeah.
books. But my thing is, there's this rumor, codename Spartacus, whatever it's going to called, my thing is money doesn't grow on trees, right? I wish it did. But
Be nice.
these games, if you look at when you look at a lot of financials, they bring a lot of money. So my thing is, these are the type of titles that you need across multiple ecosystems to continue to fund their creativity. And we're not saying that I think in the chat also, I think Bit Mo was talking to many. That doesn't mean that there can't be spin-off projects that are very different, that don't require that a game as a service that can be exclusive to a platform. But I think the
Right.
way we're seeing some of these games, like these Fortnites, these things, look at some of the games that have actually failed. It's because they either been stuck on one platform or the other.
Yeah.
So why not continue to make these games that are more than beyond just a box? And I've always, I think we've talked about this, and I talked this on Boom. It's two different sides of a company, two different ideologies, going at different ways, but eventually coming in together and getting there, right? Microsoft is doing it this way. Sony's saying, hey, let me take the curve over here. Let me take the hills over here, and let me come. Nintendo's still trying to get internet, but they're going to come up there, and do all their things. Love Nintendo. Shout out to Mario. But I think that these games are what's going to fund in the back end the things that we want as gamers, those single player experiences, those other projects that we like, those little indie games. Bring back Patapon, please. But
Yeah. So that's that goes actually kind of right along my line of thinking, is just that
What's up?
yes, I totally think that we're gonna end up seeing stuff like Warzone 2, stuff like that. I could easily see that type of stuff for sure staying across the board, because like you said, they make a ton off of microtransactions. It's a massive cash cow. Financially, it doesn't make a lot of sense to cut stuff like that,
Hey, babe.
because the more people you have, the better.
Babe,
But I do
you come on with something?
think that's maybe where we'll end up seeing like some campaign or some of the Call of Duty stuff as
Warm it
single
up for me?
player stay on Game Pass or maybe go exclusive, is because you only get that one and done usually on the campaigns, versus like Warzone, it makes sense to have it everywhere. I think flood the market with Warzone for sure.
Let me tell
You
you
know-
another thing though, which is it's true though. I mean, Game Pass is a good, and this service is this thing for service. It's actually a good thing for every developer. Also, it gives them opportunity for players to play their games. I mean, I gotta tell you something. It's true though. One of my favorite indie game companies is called Bitmap. I'm not kidding you. I thanks to Game Pass, I saw this game called Xeno Crisis. I started playing it, and I was like, man, this thing is so much fun. I mean, I love Xeno Crisis, and you know what I did? I saw a game called that they have after that. It's called, oh man, I forgot, Battle Axe, right? So I went and bought it because I was like, man, it's not a Game Pass, so I gotta buy it because I know these guys make great games. And guess what? It's a great game. It's a tough, great game. And I bought it for a good price and I'm enjoying it. So the thing is, Game Pass is a good opportunity. This service things are a good opportunity for us gamers, to reach other games and play them and enjoy them. That's why it's incredible what's doing right now, this thing. And I just want to see it grow and just keep going, man. And also bring back all the old games, man. We need all those old games to be back for those video game companies to make a little extra money too.
I want to do something before I go over to Sour Blow. And Artie was like, there's this argument, then why buy an Xbox then just buy a PS5? And I hear the argument, and I'll say this, right? It's like fashion, right? We have Adidas,
Yeah.
we have Nike, we have all these different fashion groups, right? And we all, or even better, right? There's Android and iOS. So there used to be, rest in peace, Windows Phone, right? And on iPhone and on Android and on Windows Phone, you can have all the same apps, right? I can get what app, whatever, right? So the argument kind of is not valid in the sense, why do I need an iPhone? Why do I need an Android phone? It's about if you've been invested in the PS5 ecosystem, if you've been invested in the PC ecosystem or the Xbox ecosystem, you still have the ability to access some of these games regardless of how you do it. Because again, you may like what Sony offers with their services. You may like what you get on the PC side with Steam and all these other launchers and everything. You may like Xbox Live services.
Yeah.
And this is just me looking at things of what I liked as a future, and I see it happening, is that there's a lot of loss when it comes to boxes. I'm not here, and please don't quote me to say that boxes. All of a sudden, I'm on a Kotaku article saying, Mr. Joanna Dark said no more consoles. No, that's not the thing. What I'm saying is, eventually, just like when I say, hey, everybody, go watch this new movie. I don't tell you go on Apple TV. I don't tell you go on Roku. I say, hey, go to Netflix and watch that. That's what's going to happen. When I tell you, hey, why don't you go play this XYZ game? Where is it? On Game Pass? Where is it? On Spartacus? Where is it? On Nintendo Switch Online? That is the vehicle. And this whole thing, sometimes when I hear, then why do I need an Xbox? Why do I need a PC? Why do I need a PS5? The argument's going to be like this, right? Some of us don't want to play on a PC because we work on it, or we don't want to do the extra things that a person that may have more knowledge on how to mess with settings, right? We have people that want to. Here's my thing: at $500 to get the performance of what somebody spends $1,000 to $2,000 on a PC, that is fantastic. Plug in, get up. After this, me and Sourbloww, we're gonna go in ESO. Guess what? I'm not gonna be going in and be like, hey, let me update my TurboTax and all these other crazy things, right? I'm just gonna go in, turn on, click the game, and play. So there's validity to any console that you play, regardless of the things. The key thing is that these games are gonna eventually end up where you're just like a Netflix, or you're just like a thing where you're just saying, hey, let's go play it over there. And these live services games, that's how they thrive. And I look at a lot of games that I used to love playing, and the reason they died off or service went off is because of that. So, Sourbloww, what are your thoughts on this overall? You know, the fact that, you know, COD, you know, I think it started with Sony saying, hey, we were kind of taken by surprise when they said, hey, Destiny and all this other stuff. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes. Well, I kind of think that you know, the statement they made, it's still kind of a little bit, you know, like it's not 100% defined in. It's more like it's leaving you on the, you know, on the guessing side. Like it spins more towards, it seems like, you know, they will be open to all Call of Duty games being, you know, on all platforms. But at the same time, they're not really, you know, telling you that. So I think it's also, you know, they're you know, they're being very careful on their wording because the deal hasn't been done yet. I think once the deal is done, they might do a roundtable, kind of like what they did with Bethesda, and then they will tell us their real intention. But I think until then is more like, you know, we kind of like we're kind of like guessing right now, like what we think.
Sourbloww, does it ruin does your experience playing Call of Duty, if you play Call of Duty in a hypothetical question,
Yes.
bother you if I play it on via Battle.net on PC?
No, not at
Does
all.
it take away your experience?
You could
Let
play
me
it
ask
on
you
a
this.
toaster, and I don't,
You know,
I don't really.
you know, it goes to this argument, right? Physical versus digital. There's people that
Yes.
like to collect tangible things, right? But it doesn't take away the fact that, you know, you have the choice. It doesn't destroy my experience whatsoever if it's available. However, I think, you know, one of the things that I always loved is, you know, choice, value, service. I think that's the best thing you can ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was your?
it's a.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was. I want. First of all, sorry for disrupting the show. But one thing I want to add to this conversation is, as far as the more and more I think about it, and I look at this, the whole Activision Bliss thing, I think it was more so about King and what King is going to be able to provide on the mobile side of the spectrum. As far as the whole exclusivity thing, I can't help but think of Minecraft as the example here.
Yeah.
Because it's such a huge franchise, and the fact that you can't expect a company like Microsoft to pull the rug up from up under the people with the IP as big as Call of Duty and some of the other franchises. Now, if you read this carefully, this whole article, the thing that's released, you'll notice a couple of things that weren't mentioned there, and I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, I mean, I think this deal for me, like I say, it's more of a mobile thing for me, and also trying to be extremely careful.
Just confirming
And also,
something now.
no, I'm not. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm being careful.
One Piece coming next month.
right. And it's just like there's such a big deal. It's such a huge acquisition. So it's like they have to really be careful. I mean, if you think about it, as far as like they want this deal to go through, they want everything to be approved. They don't. I mean, it's just smart business not to pull titles from up under existing, ecosystems, if you will. It's just good business.
And like I said before, remember when the Activision Blizzard thing happened? I mean, it wasn't even 72 hours before it went all over the internet. It didn't even last 72 hours. It went all over the internet. That PlayStation
We're still talking about it. I mean, we're still talking about it. Like
PlayStation called Phil Spencer right away and said, "Hey, what are you gonna do with this?" They were like, "Whoa," because so if that thing happens, and I told you before, I mean, as I'm gonna say, like as in business experiences, when stuff like that happens, that means you have right now you have something the competition wants. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit down. You're gonna talk to them. You're like, okay, you want this? Okay, what do we get back? Or what are we gonna do? What are we stuff like that? Because that's what you do. You negotiate with your competition. You get into terms, and you do loads of talking and get ideas out and stuff. And maybe something comes out. Like for example, remember earlier today I said something. How many Nintendo games are right now on Game Pass? You got a couple of them. You got the one with the drum, which was has been years in Switch. What's the drum game called? I forgot.
You're the expert.
Oh no, I
I
don't
know
know.
it has a I know it has a long name, and it was announced today.
It was announced today. And also you have that strategy game that was on Nintendo Switch for a long time and it came out to Game Pass too.
What game?
Triangle something.
Project. No, not Project Triangle. You're talking about Octopath Traveler.
Octopath Traveler. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
but that was Square. That wasn't Nintendo exclusive. Meaning that was just a third party deal.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of those. There's a lot of third party deals.
I thought the drum was too, but yeah, they're coming out over there. So yeah, probably like I said, they're sitting down chit chatting, and something might happen in the future between them. Like I said.
Oh, Crazy Lou is called Taiko no Tatsunji, the Drum Master.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just say the Drum Master game. Okay, that's good.
There you go.
Taiko.
Yeah. But I think Delilah, go.
I was gonna say one thing I was gonna also mention is that we already saw that on Twitter how I want to say Blizzard posted about or Activision posted about the new title they're working on, and so it'll be interesting to hear like how that'll play out, right? Because that seems super interesting. Just the fact that we know that they're building something completely new, and we know there's no community for that. So they can't say, "Oh, this is already we got a huge fan base for this new IP." That's right. I mean, so.
And I think you brought a good point, King. I think one of the cool things is, I used to love Gears Pop and I used to love Forza Street. And with someone like King, I would love to see more games, brought over. And we also have, mobile first markets, and I would love to see some of those expand, as we've seen with different IPs kind of expand into the mobile space, and that would be pretty cool. And I think King brings that years of experience as a really good mobile developer. So I think that's big overall too. And also I look at it from a Game Pass perspective, right? One of the things that I look at xCloud is that what if you can have some experiences in helping us make some of these games that can be consumed like mobile games? So when I'm in the bus, I can then come in and say, okay, let me start a couple of minutes. and they're developed in such a way, kind of like the PSP Vita or the 3DS, where they're expansive games. Because if you think about it, look, Yakuza Like a Dragon, I could play it, I love it, I beat it, but you can't play that game in chunks on cloud gaming because saves. So what if they can help with that infrastructure to make these so-called cloud first experiences that now scale even beyond just what we currently have, and I think that's what's also exciting about getting someone like King. Cool. Any last thoughts, anyone?
No, not really.
All right. I think this has been our first long show. I mean, of course, this is our very first guest, so it was kind of like some really huge topics that we kind of had today. So, apologies, Delilah, for keeping you longer than expected. We kind of appreciate the conversations here, so we were kind of all into, especially when you got into the scalebound stuff. That was like, okay, tell us more.
Oh man, the scalebound thing. Delilah, you gotta put that video. Seriously, put it up. Put it up. We gotta watch that video. Oh man.
Go Silent Cypher. Put a poll. Who wants to see the video? It's for the phone.
It'll probably do better. It'll probably do better than the Chuck Norris poll, unfortunately. But
I mean, I think a baby cow video would do better than Chuck Norris game.
What?
See, that's there's helping and then there's hurting, and I feel like
Yeah.
Cool.
Or bring back Shaq Fu, man. Shaq Fu was. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just
No,
kidding.
because they did the second one. They did the second one, and it wasn't
Did you
good.
see how bad that game was? Did you play
That second one? Was not good. Yeah.
Which one, Shaq Fu?
Yeah. They made a second one.
They wait a what?
So here's what happened.
No.
They made a second one and they gave it for free.
Mhm.
But let me tell you, besides that game being terrible, the content in that game, I could not believe that even Shaq put his name on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm talking about
He
like
did
some
the
of the
advertising for it,
some of the
too.
script in it. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I like Shaq Fu from back in the day, but this Shaq Fu, I was like, what? I was like,
This was this one was not good.
I
Okay.
cannot believe Shaq Fu had a second. Oh my God, they were burning that game. There was a website saying send us the game to burn it. I'm not kidding you. There's a website that said that.
Shaq is like Game Pass. I mean, I see him on Telemundo and everything with the Icy Hot commercials.
wow.
So, he's everywhere. He's like, muy caliente. I was like, oh, look at Shaq. I was like, cool. So I guess let's start with some outros, and I'll start with our very special guest.
I'm going to take it out. You want to?
Sure.
All right. So now, guys, well, it's been a fun show. Chat, you guys are awesome. And let's start with our outros. Let's start with our awesome, beautiful guest, Delilah. Go ahead. Where can people find you? Say it.
Yeah. Well, you all know you can follow me on Twitter, Delilah_HD. You can catch me on GWG every Saturday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Thank you, Xbox International, for inviting me on. I enjoyed it. The chat's been lit all evening. It's great. Nice back and forth there. That was fun. But yeah, thank you. It was great having these conversations, and it's always cool to see where we are in current state of current events in gaming, and also where we're going, and just talk games in general. Man, we all love this space. So again, thank you, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.
Yeah, Delilah, thank you so much, really, for coming on the show. Really,
Oh yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate it. It was loads of fun. Now,
Thanks for the invite. Usually I'm going back and forth in the chat, so it's either way, so it's cool.
So now, let's go to Silent Cypher. Where can they find you, my dear brother?
Right. So you can find me on Xbox Live at Silent Cypher. You can find me on Twitter as Silent Cypher, and you can catch me on here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And yes, very much. Thank you so much, Delilah, for hopping on here, tolerating my shenanigans, my pessimistic nature. No, it was a lot of fun having the conversation with you, and honestly, it was a nice spark to see someone so interested in Scalebound again. I think with all the news coming out, it's nice to see, because it felt like with everything that went on with that, it was such a mess and it was kind of a grim situation, but it's good to see that there's so much support with it. And honestly, I hope it comes back so you guys can get that game. So
Yeah. And I was getting some Fonzarelli vibes from you though, with the whole because I still know what games Fonz already likes. I just don't
Sure.
know what Fonz like, but
He's
Colin
very
Cypher,
secretive,
the spiritual
it feels
successor
like.
to Fonzarelli.
Hey, it can happen. It can happen.
Good.
So now, my brother Sourblue, where can everybody find you? Say it and spill it.
Well, you can find me on YouTube, Sourblow Gaming. I got a Spanish speaking channel. I do shorts videos, and every Tuesday at the same time as XBI, I have a Spanish speaking podcast with Crazy Lou and also our other friend Jose King Cobra. And you can also find me
A
at
legend.
Twitter, Sourblow18, and also that's my gamer tag in Xbox. And Delilah, it's been a real pleasure really having you as a guest. You actually as someone that you gave your whole background as how you have become what you have become, how you have grown. You actually you inspire me to like keep going on as someone that's
Cool.
completely new at this. And yeah, I it's been a real pleasure like hearing you talk about your background and everything.
For sure.
Thank you.
And
Oh, thank
now, my enemy, my arch nemesis, my brother, Mr. Joanna Dog. Where can everybody find you, brother?
No Chuck Norris games, but no.
Yes.
I want to say first, Delilah, thank you so much for coming
yeah,
on the
no.
show. This really means a lot for us. We're a small group,
Yes.
growing 5 episodes in. So it means a lot for you to come on here and kind of hang out with us, share your thoughts. I love your gaming origin. Like I said, listening to you on Fonzarelli, I was like, hey, hopefully when we start, XBI, and we kind of planning, hey, I had a list, and we still have a list of people, and I'm glad that we were able, you're our first guest, so we could put you like a dollar bill like this. We're like, yes, you got Delilah.
I feel like I was a little bit scatterbrained too on that question because
No.
it's like I wasn't
No.
prepared to talk about my history, but
No, you did
yeah.
great.
But love your story, love overall, and thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, people, if you want to find me on Twitter, trolling Sourblow and the guy, the panel from XBI, you can find me under Big N_boss. I'm on there. If not, you'll find me here on Wednesdays on Xbox International. Then tomorrow, I finally return because I'm going to put away another slander, which is the Final Fantasy slander, because Jasmine and Albert, since I've been gone, have been talking about who the GOAT of Final Fantasy is, and we're going to have a huge discussion on that. And on top of that, I'm on Tuesdays on the Xbox Factor podcast with, of course, 10K Boom, Mav, Pong Soul, the Game Pass, the dude's on every podcast. Along
Man,
with
he's
Box
everywhere.
and Burger.
Thanks.
He's everywhere. Yes, he is.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Box and Pong Soul's there. And then, of course, Box and Burger. So, I start my podcasting on Tuesdays, always happy. And then, of course, with the guys here in Xbox International. And also, just to let you know, our second guest next week is one of my co-hosts, like I like to call her, Jazzy Bond. She's gonna be coming here, and we're gonna probably have all this talk about PSO online because she's been saying she always has these cool pictures and stuff, and she likes the name Jazzy Bond. So I said, hey, let's go with that. So yeah.
Real quick, Crazy, before you take it away, we also have a Twitch channel. It's Xbox_International, which Joanna and me are gonna start playing SO today. We probably might not play that long today, but we at least gonna get started the channel. But yes, so if you can follow us there too, go crazy.
Yeah. So where can you find the crazy one? It's easy. You can find me at Crazy Louis Gaming on Twitter, where I dance, I do modeling classes, and what else do I do? I used to do ninja flips, but
you got taken down for that.
I got taken down for my ninja clip. Oh man, that was an awesome video, man.
You got DMCA.
Wow.
No.
Wait, are y'all joking? Is that real? Did he really?
That was real.
He
That
did a
was real.
kung fu fighting video, and then he got a copyright strike for that.
Yes,
Oh man, was it the music?
Yeah, I think it was because I mean, literally, I was doing ninjas. I was like, yeah, and I tried to do a cartwheel, which miserably failed, and I landed on my butt right there in the corner of the wall. It was funny.
Wow.
Oh man, I think I still have that video. I'll message you and DM.
No, do not.
No.
Just report him.
No, it was pretty funny. To be fair,
It's a pretty funny video though.
It was really crazy. We don't want Delilah to block us and say, "Hey, XBI is crazy."
Yeah.
But anyways, you can find me on Twitter at Crazy Louis Gaming. Also, you can find me here on this YouTube channel, Crazy Louis Gaming, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. EST. with Team XBI, and yeah, what else do we have left? Oh yeah, and also Tuesdays with my brother Sourblowed Gaming in Gaming Lobby at 7 p.m. EST. So guys, as I always say, remember. Oh, before I go again, chat, you're awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us and for hanging out with us this long time. Really, you guys rock. And now, remember. Let's go. Let's rock and let's get crazy. Yes. See y'all next week.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the XBI Podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe on the way out. We'll see you next time.